and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gordon's and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's still not quite clear what happened on 8th Street. I'm Chris Davis. What is clear is that one person is dead after a crash that happened there last night just after 10:30 near the intersection with Wilson Road. Bakersfield police say the person who died was on foot, but they have released little other info on how that wreck went down, and they say the identity of the person who was killed will be released later. 6 more homeless camps were cleared this week on Union Avenue by Bakersfield police. They have also arrested 5 people on various charges, including trespassing and other charges they say are related to squatting. Bakersfield Animal Control also came out to where those camps were and took 3 dogs.
In the wee small hours
code enforcement
of the
happened after business
morning.
owners in the area complained about the camps. It may be tough to fathom in
That's the
2025 that
time
not everyone has access to broadband.
you'll
and
miss
especially
her
not fiber.
most
But in Chapter, the city
of
council is
all.
trying to remedy that situation by using state grant money to expand the network of fiber internet that the city owns and maintains. They are paying a company out of Vallejo called Smart Fiber $99,000 a year, and part of the agreement is the
You
company
lie
uses the
awake
state grant money to build onto the network
and you
and
think
get more
about
people
the
hooked
girl
up. Another expansion
and
is set to
never
start
really
in
think of
January.
counting sheep.
You are being asked to do as much of your holiday shopping as you can locally. The mayor, Chamber of Commerce president, Kern Arts Council, and members of the chamber and city council all got together Tuesday to send the message that for every dollar that you spend in Bakersfield, about 68 cents stays in the community and helps local businesses, business people, and their families. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get a post like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. For those subscribing on YouTube, it's the Ralph Bailey Show on Thanksgiving Day Eve. We've got a busy show. And as I assume almost all of you know, we have to begin tragically with a shooting in Washington, D.C. that the FBI Director Kash Patel is calling a targeted attack on 2 National Guardsmen. As some of you may know, irresponsibly, the governor of West Virginia, where the Guardsmen call home, irresponsibly quoted that they were deceased. The latest report is they are in critical condition in separate Washington hospitals. We'll unpack that for you in just a second. You'll hear from the Executive Assistant Chief of the Metropolitan Police Department. And we will get into what was supposed to be the big news of the day, that a Georgia judge has dismissed the pending criminal case against Donald Trump, namely the Fani Willis case. Fani Willis was taken off that case for her inappropriate behavior with her boyfriend, whom she hired as part of the prosecution. We'll get into that. And the PIO for the Bakersfield Fire Department, AJ Clark, is going to join us at the bottom of the hour and give you some tips on what to and not to do if you intend to deep fry a turkey, or if you get a grease fire or anything like that in your home. We'll talk about that. It is a Wednesday, so Howard Marcus will join us. It'll be interesting to get a former federal agent's take on a targeted attack on National Guardsmen. And I've got some other just miscellaneous news and notes. Try to have some fun on this Thanksgiving Day Eve in wake of what is going on in our nation's capital. I've got some cooking tips. Now, I know what you're saying, because I'd say the same thing.
Where did they come from?
Ralph, you're the last person on the planet that I would take cooking tips from.
Well, that's kind of why I asked where they came from.
From the Today Show is where I stole them. So I'll share that with you. And I'm sure you've heard of this story. I haven't talked about it at all this week, but it is another case of a faculty member having, well, in this case, child pornography and trying to contact a student, or minor, I should say. This is out of Virginia, and it's a bizarre story of one of the most successful programs in the state of Virginia. And the coach disappeared 2 days before their playoff game, and then it became aware that a warrant was out for his arrest for, let me be specific, possession of child pornography, 5 counts, and 5 counts of using a computer to contact a minor. We'll unpack that. And then locally, the Del Oro alleged child molester was in court today, 26-year-old Salvador Fabian. We'll talk about that. And we got a great day of football on Thursday. We'll handicap that. I'll play Brandon Lang at 5:30, give you my thoughts on Green Bay, Detroit at 10 o'clock. Kansas City, Dallas at 5:30, which I think is 1:30, excuse me, 1:30, which I think is the game of the day. And Cincinnati taking on the Ravens at 5:30. And then on Friday, Chicago and Philly at noon. Great weekend of sports. And I got some other stuff we'll get to as well, if I could read my writing. And I can't, so we'll get to that later. In the meantime, let's get back to Washington, and here is the Executive Assistant Chief, Metropolitan Police Department, Jeffrey Carroll.
At approximately 2:15 this afternoon, members of the DC National Guard were on high visibility patrols in the area of 17th and I Street Northwest when a suspect came around the corner, raised his arm with a firearm, and discharged it at the National Guard members. The National Guard members, there were other members that were in the area. They were able to, after some back and forth, able to subdue the individual and bring them into custody. Within moments, members of law enforcement in the area were also able to assist and bring that individual into custody. At this time, as the director mentioned, the National Guard members are being treated at a local hospital. DC Fire and EMS responded to the scene to provide first aid for those individuals and transport them to a local hospital. The suspect in this case was also transported for treatment at a local hospital.
What is frightening about this, I don't know if you all are familiar with John Miller. He was a WABC reporter out of New York who became nationally famous because somehow he created a relationship with John Gotti. And if you go back and watch Mobsters or any bio of John Gotti, and you see Gotti coming in and out of court, you'll see a white-haired reporter shoulder to shoulder with Gotti, asking and getting answers from questions. Somehow Mr. Miller created a relationship with Gotti, and he was the only one that he would speak to. And he became nationally known. Those of us who are journalists or former journalists or who follow and engage in news know of him. He's now been hired by CNN, and he's the finest cop reporter I know. And the troubling thing that he said, that he reported today, is that ISIS on November 7th and November 20th made a national call to ISIS followers to conduct what he described as lone wolf attacks on government agencies, government officials such as National Guardsmen, ICE, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, we know very little, as we always talk about when these things break. The worst information you're going to get, the most inaccurate information you're going to get, is the initial information. And for whatever reason, the governor of West Virginia felt compelled to become a reporter, I suppose, and just run with unconfirmed information from either his staff or I don't know where the hell he got this. But just imagine the nuclear family of the guardsmen are contacted. But what if you're an uncle in Beaufort, South Carolina? What if you're a cousin in Bakersfield, California? And you know that your guardsman relative has been shot, and the West Virginia governor comes out on CNN and Fox and MS Now or whatever they're calling it and says that they're both dead. And then literally 45 minutes later says, oh, I'm sorry, I have to retract that. This guy should be run out of office. That is one of the most irresponsible things I have ever heard in my life. The news agencies weren't even reporting this at the time. They were attributing it to the governor of West Virginia, who had these two guardsmen dead. Again, we don't know the gender. It could be a man and a woman. It could be two women, for all we know. But obviously, we'll be following this throughout the day and try to give you any updates that we can. It's just such a horrible, horrible incident the day before Thanksgiving. And obviously, there are going to be political questions that come out of this. There are going to be questions of whether the guardsmen should be there. What role do they have? The Trump administration, to no one's surprise, has doubled down. Pete Hegseth has already come out and held a news conference and announced that the president has asked him to deploy 500 more National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. And the debate will continue on their role and whether they should be in our cities or not. But it's just a horrible way to start the holidays. And we say a prayer to the families of the two guardsmen and pray that they make it. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day, and we'll get into more good news for President Trump. Fani Willis is crying in her eggnog somewhere. Too early for eggnog?
I think it's about that time.
Poor Fani. She's lucky she wasn't disbarred over all this nonsense. If you don't remember who she was or what her ridiculous role in and was, and her incredibly poor decision making and hiring her boo. And it's not like her boo was like a qualified attorney. He was like a commissioner. He was like a traffic judge. Never prosecuted a federal case in his life. And now they're examining their trip to the Bahamas and whether that was paid for by the good citizens of Georgia, including many of my relatives. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday, Thanksgiving Day Eve. And from our staff here at American General Media, we all hope that you have a wonderful familial Thanksgiving, safe and sane. Beware of the drunkards. There are a number of DUI arrests on Thanksgiving Eve and on Thanksgiving throughout this 4-day holiday. So be careful, drive defensively, and please use an Uber. In 2025, there's absolutely no excuse to drive drunk when you can simply pick up a phone and have a driver come pick you up within 5 minutes. Just absolutely no excuse. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. We're just getting started. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday, right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here from the award-eligible First Look with Scott Cox radio program. We got a couple of days off for the long Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you do too. Have a great time and join us back here on the 1st of December for a brand new program. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on a World Wide Web at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries here in Kern County. If you are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today at 661-554-4544. Let us help you understand your healthcare options for 2025. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I get those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PIPE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PIPE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PIPE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
I'm telling you, when you stop eating sweets,
You taste everything.
and then you have the occasional donut, which I like to do. It literally makes my mouth water.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I did the same thing. I haven't eaten sweets in the last couple of months just to lose weight, and I eat a donut every here and then just when they bring them in, and
Yeah.
oh my God.
It's orgasmic. It
Makes
really
you miss
is.
all of it. But
I know, but I can't do it. I just can't do it. My A1C jumped up just a little bit. I think it was 6 the last time I had a blood test, and I got a blood test coming up in a couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, I had a doctor's appointment on the 22nd of January. I don't know why I'm sharing that with you, but I am. Speaking of sharing, don't forget when we come back on Monday, Sheriff Chad Bianco of Riverside County and the leading vote getter thus far in recent polls for governor, will be with us, along with Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. I'm not sure how we're doing this, to be honest with you, whether Sheriff Youngblood's going to be in studio and Bianca will be on the phone, or whether they'll both be in here. But hopefully you're going to be here on Monday, right?
I will.
Okay, so you will actually see the sheriffs in a complete wide shot, as opposed to for those that don't know what I'm talking about. Chris was gone on vacation, and we had Rick Bentley brought in Lorenzo Lamas, who was a big time Hollywood star. His father was Fernando Lamas. His stepmother was Esther Williams, famous swimming star and actress. And we neglected to move the camera back. And then when somebody tried to call and tighten us up, is Steven in there?
I couldn't tell you.
Is he in the studio?
Oh, no, he's not.
Okay, because I was going to yell at him. They called Steven and said, hey, we're looking at Ralph. And he said, well, Ralph controls the camera, which is, I guess I do on occasion. I'll move it just to save Chris from coming in here, but no, that's all on Sparky. It's all on Sparky. All right, I had to say is, hey, Ralph, why don't you move the camera? Because you
could have easily gotten up.
Yeah, because I wasn't doing anything. Bentley conducted the whole interview, and all people saw was it's horrible. Meantime, as I mentioned at the lead, the Georgia judge dismisses the pending criminal case against Donald Trump. The the whole phone call down to Raffensperger, the Secretary of State of Georgia, where he asked for 11,000 votes, and what the defense was, that it's not illegal to question or challenge election results. I'll be honest with you, you're not going to like it, but I thought he was asking them to come up with something. I mean, I guess you can interpret that he was just saying, hey, I think there's shenanigans going on down there, and I think there are 11,000 more votes. That's not how I interpreted that phone call, I'll tell you that, but that's beside the point. And the idea that there was shenanigans going on in Atlanta and Georgia have been proven wrong. In fact, Rudy Giuliani got sued by the two black women who he accused of being, what do you call them, career pollsters, but career criminal pollsters, meaning that they had a tradition of playing fast and loose with vote counting, and none of that was true. And they won a judgment against Rudy Giuliani. And in fact, I think they're still trying to get like his apartment and his Mercedes. I mean, he lost a lot in this case, but the president has emerged victorious, and it's just the third case in which the president has been essentially exonerated. And if you don't remember Fani Willis, the African-American a district attorney who led this case, she was in a relationship with a fellow attorney, which is, nothing unethical about that, but you can't pay the man $600,000 a year when he is completely unqualified. Like I mentioned, and I wasn't being funny, he was literally a traffic judge when she hired him and had zero bupkis experience in federal prosecutions. And they tried to deny the relationship, and they were able to, it's the 21st century. So they can monitor your phone, the pings of your phone, and what gave it away, which was the straw that broke the camel's back, was an evening in which he calls her at 10:30 at night. Now, I don't know how y'all were raised, but 10:30 at night, you don't call anybody at 10:30 at night. Everybody has a different hour in which you stop calling. At my house, my mother said nothing later than 9 o'clock. Nothing late. You don't call anybody. Says, now you can be on the phone at 8:30 to 9:30, but in our house, my mother said you do not call anybody's home after 9 o'clock. Let's say my mother was a little strict. 10 o'clock? Calling somebody after 10 o'clock at night? That better be somebody very close to you or a family member. And he's calling her at 10:30. You know what that's called. That's called a BC. What is a BC, Chris Burdick?
That'd be a booty call.
That is a booty call. All right, that's all your evidence, Ralph? No. Then at 1 o'clock in the morning, his phone is pinging in her neighborhood. Coincidence? Not according to Ralph Sr. There's no such thing. And then at 3:30, he's pinging back at his house, and he calls her again at 3:30. So unless you think he called her at 10:30, and then he just drove around her neighborhood, and then drove home a couple hours later, and then called her to say, hey, I was in your neighborhood, they hooked up that night. Let's be honest. And they tried to deny it. And in some of the best court action I have ever seen in my life, they tore apart her boo. I mean, he was like, hamana. And she literally, I'm making this stuff up. I wish we were doing a television show where we could have like the video behind me or something. She comes running in a bright red dress. Good looking woman. I'm not gonna lie. Good looking woman. And comes in and tries to take over and tries to clarify. And in Jasmine Crockett type style, she makes it worse. Well, she got thrown off the case. And now, as I told Teresa Goldner, I said, once this leaves her office, this case is dead. Because if you know the state of Georgia, Atlanta is the hub. Atlanta is the capital. Atlanta is the largest city in Georgia. And then Georgia really, if you take Atlanta out of the state of Georgia, Georgia is like Vermont. It's like Rhode Island. It's like a tiny little state with a bunch of tiny little communities. And what I was telling you was there's no county outside of Fulton that can handle this kind of case. And that's exactly what happened. They assigned it to a guy, I believe, coming out of Gwinnett County. I could be wrong about that. It might have been Cobb County. And they just said, we can't handle it. We're no. A, they don't have the personnel. B, they don't have the experience. You know, you're out in Cobb County, you're prosecuting moonshiners, chicken thieves. I exaggerate. But you know what I'm saying? You're not equipped to take on the leader of the free world. Let's just put it like that. So the case is dead. The president's been exonerated to some degree, and we move on. Are you going to deep fry your turkey tomorrow? Be extremely careful and pay attention to our next guest, AJ Clark, PIO for the Bakersfield Fire Department. And then Howard Marcus joins us at the top of the hour. It's TRBS on Thanksgiving Day Eve.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Gotta have the rest of that donut. Huh?
With SRN News, I'm Keith.
So I gotta have the rest of that donut. I was
Federal
only gonna have
judges
half.
have allowed North Carolina to use a redrawn congressional map
No, the
designed to
maple.
give Republicans an additional U.S. House seat. The map targets the state's only swing seat, led by Democratic Representative Don Davis, who represents over 20 northeastern counties. A three-judge panel denied a preliminary injunction request on Wednesday, acting after a hearing in mid-November. 2 West Virginia National Guard members who were shot just blocks from the White House are still alive and in critical condition. West Virginia's governor initially said the troops had died, but later walked back the statement to say his office was receiving conflicting reports about their condition. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 314 points. The Nasdaq rose 189. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. It's a tradition, it seems, during the holidays for companies giving people the pink slip. Layoffs have been announced in Shafter. 70 people who work for GAF at the glass mat plant are being phased out of their jobs January 24th. A person was hit by a car and killed just after 10:30 last night on South H Street, says Bakersfield PD. They have not discussed details about how it happened and say the person's name will be released later. You are being encouraged and reminded to shop local as much as you can. That message comes from the Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce and other organizations with an interest in seeing local businesses thrive and Bakersfield business families do well. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Sangera Subaru with an
There's
announcement.
nobody over
It's
there but
time
Lisa.
again for the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. Buy or lease a new Subaru through January 2nd and a donation of $325.
Nobody
will be
over
made
there
by
but Lisa.
Subaru to your choice of 4 national charities like Make-A-Wish, Meals on Wheels, the ASPCA, and National Forest Service, or local
what?
charities
Next year, if
Honor
I'm here,
Flight Kern County, Global Family, and the
take
Daughter
the
Project.
whole
Right
damn
now
week
at Sangera Subaru, you can lease a 2025 Outback Premium CVT for only $239 per month for 36 months and $4,800 due at signing. You get a new car plus donate to charity. It's an absolute win-win.
Have we found out
miss
if we're
the
getting the
Subaru
Friday
Share
after
the Love
Christmas
event
and the
going
Friday
on
after
now
New
at
Year's?
Sangera Subaru in the Bakersfield Auto Mall.
Through November 30th, 2025. Lease 2025 Outback Premium CVT model code SDD-11 for only $239 a month.
See, I think it's the
Lease,
opposite.
$4,800 due at signing,
I
plus
think
tax and
it's-
license, zero
we're
security deposit,
definitely
10,000 mile a year
they're
limit,
not
15
gonna
cents per
make us
mile over,
pay
MSRP
after
$35,098, VIN number
But the day after
S32900806.
New
You've
Year's,
got
that
your
I can
whole
see them
life
saying.
ahead of you.
All
So
right,
choose
you
a
had your
Medicare
day.
plan you can count on.
But
And
it's a
that's what
Friday
you get with a
again. What's-
Medicare
what's
Advantage
gonna get
plan
done
from
on a
United
Friday?
Healthcare. With more than 45 years experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual
Did I ask you
enrollment
whether we're
period
getting those
ends December
Fridays,
7th.
Christmas
So go to
and-
uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
It's time once again for the annual Condors Teddy Bear Toss. This is one of the coolest events that happens all year long in Bakersfield. You just bring a stuffed animal to the
PIO,
game.
right?
It happens the Saturday after Thanksgiving. When the Condors score their first goal of the night, you throw all the bears, all the stuffed animals onto the ice. They're then gathered up and distributed by the United Way. It's sponsored by KERN, Eyewitness News, and Three-Way Chevrolet.
Steven
The doors
brought the
open at
donuts.
6,
He's
puck
proud of
drops
that.
at 7. Get your tickets early and do not be late. You do not want to miss the big goal. For more information, visit BakersfieldCondors.com or call 324-PUCK.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
I fell into a ring of fire.
842-5376, 842-KERN is our phone number. Coming up top of the hour, Howard Marcus will join us to get his thoughts on what is going on in D.C. Again, 2 National Guard members have been shot. A suspect is in custody. We'll be following that. The latest, despite initial reports that they were both killed, that has been updated. There are conflicting reports, but now they're saying that they are both in critical condition, fighting for their lives. Again, we'll follow that for you and give you the latest as soon as it becomes available. In the meantime, everybody, or a lot of folks, I shouldn't say everybody, is going to be cooking tomorrow and maybe even tonight. And often many mistakes are made, both deep frying a turkey or just around the kitchen. And joining us from Bakersfield Fire Department, their PIO, their Public Information Officer, AJ Clark. AJ, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, anytime, Ralph. It's great to hear. Great to be on today.
Thank you. Let's start. I guess we got to start with deep frying the turkey. That's probably the most dangerous event on Thanksgiving. Is that right?
Yes. I was just listening to that song, Ring of Fire, thinking about turkey frying. We actually did a demonstration. If anyone wants to check it out, check out our Facebook. We actually did a turkey fry just a couple days ago where we actually intentionally made it boil over and catch fire so the people can see, so everyone can see the dangers of it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love me a fried turkey.
It's delicious.
My go-to if I had the chance.
Yeah, it really is pretty good.
Yeah, that crispy outer crust
Uh-huh.
on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it, we just tell everyone, just plan ahead. Make sure you do it away from your house, away from eaves. The kids love to come out and take a look, but if they do, just keep it at a safe distance.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is make sure that turkey is completely thawed out and have it really dry. And then the prep work is put that turkey, before you do anything else, put it in your pot, fill it up with water to the point where you know that it covers the turkey, and then mark a line on there, and then, or make sure it's filled, and then take that turkey out and mark the line in your pot, and that will tell you how much oil to use. And that is the best way so it doesn't overfill, because that's where the majority of these fires happen.
Where they put
So
in
it's
too
up
much.
in that turkey. Yeah, there's too much oil because they want to make sure it's completely covered, and then it boils over, it catches fire, and that big ring of fire we just heard, that's exactly what happens. You have a big ball of fire that comes off of that thing, and then if you get knocked over, that fire spreads wherever that oil is going. So just make sure you have a safe area. So if you can do it safely, take your time, don't rush it, and when you put that turkey in, lower it in slow. So
Yeah. And for the listeners who have not seen their Facebook video, it's not a small fire. I mean, it erupts. It is like a volcano when this thing erupts.
Yeah, and when we do it, we have two of our firefighters wearing all their turnout gear, their air pack on the back, so they don't get anything in their lungs. And yeah, it's a big flame. So check it out. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And we do it as a demonstration every year. And a lot of people ask, why do you keep doing this? It's because every year we have fires
Yeah.
that are caused by someone that wasn't prepared and wasn't ready for it. So just take a little time, be careful, and it'll make a great turkey.
Yeah. And obviously they should have a fire extinguisher available and nearby. Where can folks get fire extinguishers if they don't have one in their homes?
You know, any local home improvement store, they have a small one you can keep in your kitchen, and it's perfect for that type of fire.
Yeah.
So if you don't have one, go by Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace, Floyd's, Walmart probably, I think, carries them too. They're not that expensive. They're great to have in your house.
Yeah.
And if you're cooking inside the house, same thing. Just be careful. The kids are running around. Grandma and grandpa are there. There's a lot of people getting together, and same thing. If you're cooking a turkey in your oven or cooking some green beans on the skillet or whatever it may be, your favorite, just make sure your stove and oven are clean of grease, and just keep everyone away that's not in there cooking so they don't actually accidentally knock it off.
Yeah. And the use of a fire extinguisher is pretty self-explanatory, is it not? Or is it something that they should study about?
You know what? We just tell them to pass. PASS. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. So pull that pin on the side. That's what keeps it from going off accidentally. Squeeze it. Aim it where you want. Squeeze the handle down and sweep it back and forth until that fire's out.
Very good. Very good. Talking with AJ Clark, the PIO for the Bakersfield Fire Department. Let's go into the kitchen. And one of the common errors that people make with grease fires is the use of water. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So water and grease don't mix, just like if you're trying to make olive oil or something like that. And if you do have a grease fire, if you have some oil on the stove that's boiling, or you're trying to fry something, or even just grease buildup, and a fire catches, the best thing to do is if you have a lid nearby, put that lid on it, smother it out.
Yeah.
If you don't have a lid, take a dish towel, get it wet, throw it just a tiny bit damp, throw it on top, it'll smother it out, or some baking soda. The last thing you want to do though is spray some water.
Yeah.
That oil, that water doesn't mix. Same thing that happens with the turkey. It flares up, and before you know it, you've got a kitchen fire and your Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other tips before we let you go?
No, the only thing we just remind everyone of is it's getting cold out there. Just if you have space heaters in your house, keep them away from anything flammable. If you have a fire outside, please make sure that it's contained and it doesn't get anywhere. And then when we're getting ready for these Christmas trees this year, I know we're all excited.
Yeah.
As soon as that turkey decorations are away, everyone's getting the Christmas stuff out. So make sure that you water your tree regularly if you have a live one, and just make sure that you're prepared and ready for the season. If you have a fireplace, just keep everything away from it. And at the end of the season, when those after Christmas, if you have a live tree, just take it to a recycling place or put it in your green bin so that it dries out and it becomes pretty hazardous.
Yeah.
We'll do a demonstration coming up soon about the hazards of a Christmas tree that catches fire. And it's amazing how quickly they burn. So we just want everyone to have a great holiday, have a safe holiday. We're here to help if you need us, but we'd rather you enjoy the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, AJ, thanks for taking the time. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We appreciate you coming on the program.
Hey, thank you very much, Ralph. You guys have a great holiday, great day.
You too. Take care. Thanks again.
Take care.
AJ Clark, PIO, Public Information Officer for the Bakersfield Fire Department. When we come back, I've got some good news for those that are going to be hitting the road and hitting the skies. Then, the top of the hour, our good friend Howard Marcus will chime in. Again, the lead story of the day: 2 National Guard members have been shot inside of the District of Columbia. A suspect is in custody. He was also wounded in the exchange of gunfire. We'll talk about that with Mr. Marcus, get his thoughts. And then I have some last-minute Thanksgiving advice. No, it's not for me. I stole it from the Today Show this morning. Just on little hints on how to cut things and some of the things that AJ just talked about in terms of grease fires, what to and not to do, etc., etc. And I'll tell you about a winning Virginia coach who is on the run and suspected of possessing child porn and using a computer to contact a minor. This is out of the state of Virginia. And the ball club, he left them. He disappeared 2 days before their playoff game. They went on to win. And ironically or coincidentally or just weirdly, they're vying for a championship this weekend without their, what would I call him? On the loose alleged criminal, their head coach. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on Thanksgiving Day Eve, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 11.
Messmaker.
Feel like you need to know what's going on in the world, but you don't want to be bored to tears.
Well, tune in the Armstrong and Getty Show. We'll keep you informed. We'll try to make you think. We will leave behind the ever-present left-wing media spin. And you know what? We're not angry all the time. Sometimes we have fun.
I'm angry a lot, but not all the time. That's the Armstrong and Getty Show every single weekday.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, it's a short week, and therefore, unfortunately, we won't have Daniel Petrie tomorrow from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And it's an important time to talk to Daniel with what is going on inside the Beltway and the back and forth between Jerome Powell and his decision to either lower or keep interest rates where they are. We'll talk with Daniel next week about that. And again, as I always remind you guys, that's the brilliance of having him on our program and why he is so important to the show, because not only does he have economic knowledge, not only does he have expertise in retirement, but he also has political knowledge. And again, if you are thinking about retirement, call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in on Thursdays at 4:30 when he joins us every week other than on Thanksgiving. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Inc., DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available.
The donut makes my water mouth so much.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results.
I took a bite right before I started talking,
Have you racked
and I
up
was like,
$10,000
I was
or
like
more in
drooling.
credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who
Happy
qualify.
Thanksgiving.
You don't need to declare bankruptcy
Thank
or
you.
take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, visit FVGradio.com.
If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise.
See website for complete details.
We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird.
An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it?
Call now, 800-417-6411, 800-417-6411. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-417-6411 and give us your answer.
The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaway.
In what way?
Like, I want to send somebody a Stevie Wonder happy birthday thing via text message.
Point one and AM 1180 KERN.
So do you know how to do that?
As I said, to answer your question, yes, I think.
Yeah.
I think you would need the audio file, though. Do you have the song saved on your phone?
Have we met?
That's why I'm asking.
Of course. Well, no, that's why you should not be asking. Of course I don't. What's the matter with you? I'm trying to send somebody a happy birthday text, and I want to send them Mr. Wonder or maybe even 50 Cent, happy birthday. By the way, speaking of 50 Cent, I love how I just jump off the freeway. Did you know? I didn't even know this, let alone that it's coming out very soon. That 50 Cent did a documentary on Diddy.
Yeah.
And then it comes out, please stand by. It comes out on, please stand by. I saved so much stuff for today. I don't know why. Oh, don't tell me I didn't write it down or I didn't put it in here. I didn't. Oh, I'm so stupid. Well, it comes out like early December. And apparently, Angela Kills or Jackson says
December 2nd. We're
Which is
talking about
Tuesday.
Sean Combs' The Reckoning.
Yes, which is Tuesday. I cannot wait.
This one's going to rip him apart.
Oh, it's gonna tear
This one's
him
gonna
a
rip him
new one.
apart.
Because for the Caucasian members of our audience, 50 Cent is a rapper, and I'm sure you know of Mr. Combs by now. But what you don't know is they can't stand each other. Well, actually, it's 50 Cent hates Diddy.
Diddy knew this was his role long time. This is how Diddy rolled a long time.
Oh, Diddy used to, Combs used to, 50 Cent used to talk about the freaky parties on the Breakfast Club. He used to talk about it all the time. And they would kind of poo-poo it because they knew he hated him. And he used to talk about him being gay.
Yeah, him trying to take him out to
shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, dude, he's a little fluffy. I remember watching it. And he's like, and I remember Charlamagne the God, because fluffy can mean two things. Fluffy can mean is kind of a nice way to call somebody fat. And so Charlamagne the God was playing stupid. He's like, you calling him fat? And 50 Cent was like, well, you know what I mean by fluffy. Let me give you an example. You want to take me shopping? Shopping? Like you take your boo shopping. You don't take another grown man shopping. And so they can't. So this thing is going to rip him a new one. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of evidence or video or because they were boys for like a hot second. And then something happened. Speaking of celebrity audio, just because I ran into it when I was looking for my other thing. Remember I told you the story of Tara Reid?
Yeah.
And how she went to a hotel and went down to the bar and had a glass of wine and she took a couple sips and went out to get a smoke. And she said she came back and finished her glass of wine and she doesn't remember anything else. She woke up 8 hours later in a hospital. Well, she talked with guess who? Guess who she spoke with? Come on, don't overthink it. The best entertainment news.
I'm sorry, the Best Entertainment. I apologize.
Best entertainment news organization in Hollywood.
TMZ?
Of course. Of course. She talked to Harvey Levin. But listen to this audio. Her story is funky, and she sounds like she just took a sip of that drink. It's just, listen to this. Hello.
So walk us through what happened.
So I got to the hotel, I checked in, and then I went downstairs for to have a drink and have a cigarette. And I got my drink and I left it on the bar and I went outside, smoked a cigarette, and there's a bunch of YouTubers there in the lobby, like everywhere. And they're videotaping stuff and, you know, everything was just weird. And then I went back to the bar and my drink was covered up with a napkin. And I thought that was weird because I didn't put that over my drink. And then I drank my drink and without even like finishing my drink, I just like passed out. And before I knew it, I was in the hospital.
Tara,
8 hours later.
Were you actually at the bar? Was your drink on the bar or were you at a table?
No, at the bar.
At the bar.
At the bar.
So
yeah. And it's just really scary. It's like, just for all, not just girls, but for guys, for anyone, you have to really be careful with your drink. I mean, for that, it made me pass out for 8 hours. I mean, that's crazy.
So I was going to say, what happened after you were taken to a hospital and
then I woke up 8 hours later.
Did they tell you anything about your condition, or did they test for any? Did they do Did they do a blood alcohol test?
No, they did. They just said that you were drugged. That's what they said. They said you got drugged last night at the bar.
Did they did they test it to see what drug it was?
No, I didn't ask. It was all kind of vague. Like, it was all like very blurry. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it was just, it was like, I can't even explain it because I don't even know what happened.
See, the odd thing to me is that if you're going to the hospital in an unconscious state, it would seem they'd want to know what drug it was to know how to deal with it and treat you.
I don't know, because I was unconscious. So I don't know what they did. You know what I mean?
So walk us.
No, I don't know what you mean. That's the craziest story I've ever heard.
Yeah, that doesn't
You got drugged and you didn't stop and say, what was it? Will it have residual effects? Is it going to affect my kidney, my liver? What the hell was it? You're telling me that a human being got knocked out for 8 hours. She came to, they just said you were drugged. She got her clothes and she left. Hollywood Finocchios, man. There's something funky to this story. I think she probably OD'd herself, was walking down in the elevator on her way to have a cocktail, popped a couple of whatevers.
Yeah, I went too hard.
And maybe took one too many and didn't realize that you cannot mix alcohol with prescription drugs or non-prescription drugs, particularly painkillers. And she found herself, if you haven't, go Google it and look at the pictures. They had to wheel her out in a wheelchair. And I mean, she's like this. She is, looking like Jesus on the cross in a wheelchair. She's just like, that doesn't fly. Something smells inky.
There's two things that smell fishy to me. One, if someone drugged your drink, they're not going to put a napkin on top of it because that's just suspicious. That tells somebody that they messed with your drink. Two, what hospital that you go to, they just wake up 8 hours later and say, oh yeah, you were drugged last night, and not tell you what it was.
And then you just leave.
That's not, hospitals don't do that.
That's not hospital protocol.
They would tell you exactly what it was.
They would tell you if there were any residual effects.
They would have had a cop there to ask you questions.
Yes, they would tell you to go see your physician maybe in a day or two just to make sure that everything is all right. But to think that you just woke up and everything's ambiguous, no, Tara. And she sounded messed up in this interview, or just sounded like she was 80. Please stand by. Hey, Siri, how old is Tara Reid? She's 50. She sounded like she was 85 years old with that smoker's throat and the whole bit. And And nobody's going to look into this. Nobody gives a damn about Tara Reid, not a fitty. What is she famous for?
She was in a handful of movies in the 2000s. Van Wilder was one big one with her and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
But she's all over the place. But I think she also had an issue with drugs, though, at one point. I might be speaking out of turn, so don't take my word for it.
Was she one of the Beverly Hills 90210 girls?
I'm honest with you. I couldn't tell you. I didn't watch the show, but she probably was.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Anything on the board? I don't have any time to talk about anything. Any text messages before we get Howard in here?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, well, no, this first one just says, sorry, late in the conversation. Who are you guys talking about? And that was for the Tara Reid situation. So
Yeah, Tara Reid, alleged celebrity who I think, well, I'm not going to make any speculation, but it just sounds bizarre, particularly if this is, and I'm assuming, a high-end hotel. And the fact that she's not following it up, the fact that she hasn't gone to the police and have them investigate, I'm sure you're going to tell me there's not cameras in the bars of these elite hotels.
And a bartender just watched someone walk up to your drink and pour something in and put the napkin on top.
Right.
Like that. No, this doesn't sound right.
It sounds totally hinky to me. And the fact that she just went home and doesn't give a damn about what drug.
YouTuber part of it. Like,
yeah, I don't know what that's about. And how do you know they're YouTubers? Like, what qualifies as a YouTuber? Are they want to run around the hotel with their phones? You can't do that. It's public. It's a private entity. You can't just walk around a hotel filming folks.
I believe you can't do that.
No, not in a private company, in a mail, in a post office or a police department or public government agencies. You're allowed to do that, but private property, you can film them from the sidewalk, but you can't go on private property and start filming folks. Just can't do it. Just seems extremely bizarre to me. All right. We'll head into the 4 o'clock hour. We'll talk with Howard Marcus. And then at 4:30, for whatever it's worth, and forever, whoever is listening and viewing, because ain't nobody listening to us today. We're going to look at the thing at the end of the day. It's going to be like 9-10 people paying attention to us this afternoon.
And we appreciate those 9.
We do appreciate you. We do. We truly do. But for whatever it's worth, I've got some last-minute Thanksgiving Day tips. They do not come from my downtown palatial apartment. They are strictly from the Today Show and from the Butterball Hotline. Do you think we should call the Butterball Hotline? Just see
the Butterball Hotline.
Yeah. You've never heard of the Butterball Hotline?
This is the news to me.
Oh, dude. There was a whole episode on The West Wing where Martin Sheen, the president, had some question and he called the Butterball Hotline. And those were the guys who were on the Today Show. We might give them a buzz at the bottom of the hour. Howard Marcus is next.
This is AM 1180 KERN.
Hey,
This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield.
Butterball
Hotline.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. 2 National Guard troops are in critical condition after being shot near the White House.
A suspect who is in custody was also shot and has injuries that are not believed to be life-threatening. Emergency medical responders transported all 3 victims to a hospital. President Trump, who's in Florida celebrating Thanksgiving, warned in a statement on social media that the, quote, animal who shot the guardsman will pay a very steep price. Hundreds of National Guard members from the district in several states have been patrolling the nation's capital after President Trump in August issued an emergency order in the Capitol, federalizing the local police force and sending in the Guard from 8 states and D.C. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
Fewer Americans sought unemployment benefits last week.
U.S. applications for unemployment benefits in the week ending November 22nd dropped 6,000 from the previous week to 216,000. According to FactSet, that is below the 230,000 forecast by economists. The job cuts recently announced by large companies such as UPS and Amazon typically take weeks or months to fully implement and may not yet be reflected in the claims data. I'm Mr. Dwyer.
Federal judges have allowed North Carolina to use a redrawn congressional map designed to give Republicans an additional U.S. House seat. The map targets the state's only swing seat held by Democratic Representative Don Davis, who represents over 20 northeastern counties. A three-judge panel denied a preliminary injunction request on Wednesday, acting after a hearing in mid-November. On Wall Street, a good day as the Dow was up by 314 points. The Nasdaq rose 189. The S&P 500 advanced 46 and oil up to 58.60 a barrel. More at Town Hall.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A man accused of an inappropriate relationship has a sour week. I'm Chris Davis. It was the first time 26-year-old Salvador Fabian faced a judge Tuesday, and he says he's not guilty of having that inappropriate relationship with a student at Del Oro High School, where he was a walk-on band coach. Since his arrest, Fabian has been sacked, and Tuesday the court issued a restraining order preventing him from having any contact with the person who says they were the victim. Bail was set at $245,000, and Fabian has another court date December 8th. Complaints from business owners on Union Avenue brought Bakersfield PD Impact team members, code enforcement officers, and animal control to clear 6 homeless camps this week. They arrested 5 people who are all accused of crimes related to squatting and trespassing, and the animal control officers took 3 dogs. For now, the identity of the person who was killed last night, apparently hit by a vehicle while walking on South H Street, will not be released. The coroner says you will hear that later, but police are still trying to figure out exactly what happened just after 10:30 last night near the intersection with Wilson Road. No other injuries were reported. Holiday pink slips have gone out to 70 people in Shafter. They got notice that they will no longer have jobs as of January 24th, with the glass mat plant shutting down. That's a factory operated by GAF, and the company says they are optimizing. While that optimization puts people out of work, the county will be helping people file for unemployment, and they will get access to food and medical assistance. And GAF says they are not shutting down their other factory, which makes shingles. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get a post like this. Bing! You blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Thanksgiving Day Eve. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. Still lots to do. Ralph's Today version of Thanksgiving Day tips. And what I mean today, I mean the program on the National Broadcasting Company. My wake-up watching habit. They gave some tips from the Butterball hotline, which we're going to call for laughs and giggles. We got to come up with a cogent question. At what temperature? Well, that's part of my tips, but we'll see if any of my tips match up with the hotlines. Then I'll tell you the story of a winning football coach who had an undefeated team that is going to vie for a championship, but he won't be there because he's on the lam. Wanted for 5 counts of child pornography and contacting a juvenile via computer. And the local band leader at Doloro High School was in court after blowing off court. A warrant had to put out for his arrest, and 26-year-old Salvador Fabian answered to the court today. Trial date was set. We'll get into that, and we'll talk a little football at 5:30. We got a great weekend of football, great Thanksgiving Day of football. Green Bay taking on Detroit in the morning, Kansas City going to Dallas at 1:30, and Cincinnati and Baltimore going at it in the evening, and Chicago going to Philly on Friday at noon. In the meantime, it is a Wednesday.
Then all I've got to say.
Green apples?
Wow,
I've never heard him do this.
It don't rain in Indianapolis in the summertime.
I don't like when Dean ventures out of his realm, Howard, when he does like cover songs.
Yeah, he doesn't need to.
No, he really doesn't. Just stick to the classics.
Yeah.
Green apples?
Yeah, I'll be honest. That doesn't really strike a bell.
That's
pure cover.
First time I've ever heard that song by him.
Yeah,
I've certainly heard the song, but by him, I've never.
He doesn't need to cover. He's a classic in himself.
Absolutely.
And again, he can also sing the phone book. So
Exactly. True that. Obviously, we have to start with what's going on in D.C. Howard, what do you think?
Well, it just shows what kind of times we're in. We are in the most uncivil time. You and I are in the same age group. I remember the Vietnam War at its height when half the country was divided, and this level of viciousness, this partisanship, the open calls for violence is unprecedented. And there are going to be people that are going to say, you're going to see it's going to come out. They're going to be, all these guys deserved it. Or if they weren't there, they wouldn't get. Already somebody said, if they weren't there, they wouldn't get a shot. A New York journalist said that. It's like these guys are here putting their lives on the line, literally now, to protect people in a lawless city where the mayor, who's not running for a term again, or she's done, her 4th term is done, was forced to grudgingly acknowledge that it worked.
Right.
And these could have been just as easily 2 policemen or 2 FBI agents or 2 any law enforcement officials. So the fact they were guardsmen just shows how people are willing to put their lives on the line to protect fellow citizens.
Yeah.
But it also shows the level of uncivility that we've got now. It is unbelievable. I watch headlines every day, just like anybody else who's a news junkie. And the statements that are being made from the left side of the aisle are absolutely astounding. The open calls for treason in the military, the calls for open violence against law enforcement officials, for example, ICE, the threats, the death threats against officials is something unprecedented. And we are descending with no chance I see of turning it back at this point, that I kind of fear for the future.
Yeah, I do too.
Because God forbid if Trump has something happen to him the next 3 years, or if the Republicans don't win in 28.
Yeah.
And even if they lose the House, what's going to happen is there's going to be a half dozen bogus impeachment calls and endless, along the lines of Russian collusion investigations at no basis other than just harassment. So people don't realize how important some of these elections are. There are consequences based on who wins. We've seen a sea change in attitude just in the less than a year that Trump's been in, and all of it for the good, by the way. But it can go away overnight.
Yeah. The midterms, as I said yesterday, if nothing changes dramatically, the midterms are going to be horrendous. And if as you say, I don't think people really understand what happens if the Democrats get into the majority. I don't know about you, Howard, but I think one of the first things they're going to do is end the filibuster. I think they're going to push the nuclear option. And once they can simply get a simple majority in the Senate, I think they're going to pack the court. I think they're going to make D.C., or at least try to make D.C. and Puerto Rico a state.
Yep.
And add 4 Democratic senators. And God knows what else they're going to do.
They don't hide any of that.
No.
That's an open stated goal.
Yeah.
I think Trump was right in saying, look, let's end it now and get an agenda through. If they can have a cultural change that puts into place, for example, ending DEI, or having, like when they're basically going to end the Department of Education. When you get those into place, the employees are gone, the department's been dismantled, it's very hard to bring it back.
Yeah.
So some of the changes that we've had since Trump's come in are real hard to reverse, but most of the day-to-day stuff is easy. It's just another set of executive orders from the left side of the aisle. So people don't realize it's always a critical election. Unfortunately, I've been hearing this for 40 years. Every election is the most important election. You hear that over and over and over again. It's just that as times become less civil and the issues become more important as far as actual cultural shifts, it becomes true, unfortunately. It's not just chicken little stuff. It's the reality.
Yep, absolutely. Are you familiar with John Miller, the
not a fan.
New York journalist and crime reporter?
You were the one that we talked about earlier that was walking out with Gotti.
Yeah. So you heard what I said, or what he was reporting, that ISIS on November 7th and the 20th called for rogue lone wolf attacks.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that? And isn't that really frightening?
Well, it is, because you're now seeing the Minnesota issue with the Somali connection. We've had a problem for the last 30 years, because Clinton now, we're talking about 92, on. We've had people in this country that are not vetted, and that are from countries that are, their culture and their identity are hostile to our way of life. And on top of that, we've allowed homegrown extremists to take root. And only now, finally, after all these things have been talked about, you talk about designating the Muslim Brotherhood. Arab countries have already done so, of all people. And we're finally looking at this going, there are people here that are willing to die to kill Americans that are in our midst. And I'm hoping the FBI is doing a much better job now under the new leadership to root these people out.
Yeah.
The online threats, the plans, they're catching people almost every day. You see another news story. And I really fear for that, because, with 330 plus million people, it only takes 1/10 of 100th of 1% people to be rogue to cause mass casualties.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking with Howard Marcus, as we do each and every Wednesday. I didn't get to talk about this with Kathy because I'm losing my mind, and somehow thought that she resigned a week ago Friday and not this past Friday. So I thought I'd already discussed it with Kathy, but I'll discuss it with you.
Sure.
What do you think her departure means? And I was going to cut it. In fact, I erased it on my rundown for Chris. Some audio from Kevin McCarthy, who, like and I stated this the other day, believe there are going to be other resignations. And if there are, that 2-person majority is gone. And some are predicting that we could lose the majority before the midterms.
I think there's 40 that are retiring, 22, I was doing the numbers roughly. I read the article, it's 22 Republicans that are retiring and 16 Democrats, but somehow it comes up to about 40. But the majority are Republicans not seeking it. And mostly, the reason they're citing it is for a variety of reasons. One, if they a certain amount of time in the House, they get a pension, which they shouldn't get, by the way. And secondly, because they're claiming, again, civilness is gone. Civil discourse is gone.
Yeah.
The meanness, the personal attacks,
the death threats.
They just don't want to put up with it anymore. I don't blame them. We've had that here locally. We've had people of character go into the legislative process and come back out after one term.
Yeah.
We've had it happen here. They just said, look, this was different than what I thought it was going to be. There's no reaching across the aisle. We've talked about this before, the days of Reagan reaching across to Tip O'Neill, that stuff's gone.
Yeah.
And no, I think it's a real threat. The only hope I've got is that the ones that are retiring are in very solid, very strong red districts, where hopefully they're replaced by somebody equally to the right.
Yeah.
This cascade kind of started with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, to be honest, in my opinion, is just an out-and-out lunatic. I don't know what her agenda is. We'll see it, because she's got something planned. I just don't know what. Run for governor, who knows what. They're talking about having her a panelist on some left-wing. They're willing to embrace her now with open arms. That she's repudiated Trump,
right?
Made her statements. I don't know the answer. We won't know until she announces it. But there's obviously an agenda here. I just don't know what it is.
Isn't that amazing how the left has now embraced her simply because she's distanced herself from Donald Trump? They've forgiven all the QAnon. They've given, and to some degree, I'm guilty of that because I just thought that perhaps the death of her friend Charlie Kirk, all I don't know the word admired, but congratulated her on was apologizing for being part of ramping up the rhetoric. And I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I do think it's amazing that The View, in fact, I watched The View this morning, they were talking glowingly about her, that the left now adopts her strictly on the idea that she's divorcing herself from Donald Trump.
Yeah, which shows you the lack of morals at the center.
Exactly.
Because, they don't stand on principle. They just, you're anti-Trump, well, now you're our buddy.
Yep.
Now, look, we've had people that are pragmatic, that are on the left side of the aisle that have stood up for it. There's a certain senator from Pennsylvania who's bucked his party and is really facing issues, possibly re-election as a result of it, because you know what I'm talking about.
John Fetterman, who I think is going to end up being in the Republican Party.
I think he should, because he's burned his bridges, and he'd be welcome, but for the right reasons, not because he's a man in principle, because he's been this way all along.
Yeah.
And he stood up for principle over politics, and for the right reasons, not some kind of wacko theory, but he's saying, look, about the CR, about the anti-Semitism, about Israel, a whole host of issues that he's been very consistent on, even at the risk of personal attacks from his own party. And I hope he does come to the Republican side.
I do too.
If he doesn't, he could be kind of the equivalent of a centrist figure on the Democrat side.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be primaried. I mean, I think that's a problem he's going to have to face. But I think he's got 4 more years though. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty of the Senate, that they do have the longest terms,
right? And
you can rebuild your reputation within a term. As a Congress member, you got 12 months and you got to start running for re-election. So I hate the 2-year terms for Congress.
They're continuously running for election. As soon as they're elected, the next election cycle starts. And that's the problem that has is it's very hard to start on principle when you're always having to pander to your base, right or left. And it's very hard for you to be consistent when you're looking at your next election. Now, we've made this kind of a piggy bank for these. The problem I've got is we've made this a huge piggy bank. As you stated earlier, your caller yesterday could not accept about everybody being corrupt, but never responded to your question about Jasmine Crockett and all her money.
Right.
Or Nancy Pelosi making gains of something, what was it, 10,000% return on her stocks?
Yeah.
Obviously corrupt, obviously insider trading, and nobody really said anything about it. There's either a wink on the left or there's a shrug. And the reality of it is that does color people's perception. It makes people want to be less engaged in the political process because it feels futile. It's like, why are you even bothering? Why bother voting? It doesn't. Either you feel that it's preordained, or it doesn't matter who's in charge. And that isn't the way our civics are supposed to work. We're supposed to have you vote for the right reasons, regardless of whether your party wins or not. You vote on your principles.
Yeah. I'll leave you with this, and it's a horrible note to leave on, but I'm about to do a story at 5 o'clock about a football coach who is in possession of child porn and using a computer to contact a child. And we've got a local case with a 26-year-old band leader from Del Oro High School. And we're just seeing a number of these things. And I'm just wondering, maybe this is a stupid question, but do you think that some of these educators get involved with education because that's, as Willie Sutton used to say, why do I steal from banks? That's where the money
is.
Yeah.
Famous quote.
Exactly.
Well,
is that what they're doing? That's where the kids are, so that's what I'm going to do for a living because I'm a lifetime pedophile?
Yeah, maybe they're drawn to it. The problem I've got is, don't these guys ever watch To Catch a Predator? How obvious is that, you do something on the computer, it's just as much as possibly a sting as anything else. I understand it's an actual disease. These people are hardwired that way.
Exactly.
They're recidivism
it's who they are.
Enormous. It's who they are. It's part of the core system. And we kind of we act like there's rehabilitation. There isn't any.
No.
They have to be locked away forever for nothing else, so they don't reoffend, because they will. They can't help it.
Highest recidivism rate in all of criminality.
Yep.
And that's why I'd never really heard anybody talk about that. Like when you're 18, 19, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to be,
Right.
Are they pedophiles at that point? They're saying, you know, I'm gonna go to the chicken house and live and work in the chicken house as a coyote.
Well,
I
the
really think
tragedy is a lot of these pedophiles were sexually abused themselves as children, which is what, you know, abused children become abusers.
right.
And I don't know if the pedophiles are uniformly that, or they're just hardwired wrong. I think it's a combination, probably of both.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's the real tragedy. Is not when you harm a child, you've only harmed that child. That child may go on to harm others because that's part of their psychological makeup now. It is very sad, and you know these stories are very frequent now. That's the scary part.
That's why I bring it up. We're
I
talking
don't get
about
it.
we're talking about it almost on the weekly.
Yeah. Look at all the horrendous cases here. Children being murdered, children being abused. You know, just in Kern County. We're not talking about a major urban center. We're talking about Kern County.
Hang on a second, Howard. Let me read this while it's up on the screen.
Sure, go ahead.
Brooke Taylor is reporting that law enforcement sources tell her that the shooter who shot 2 National Guard members in D.C. is an illegal immigrant from Afghanistan who came in during Operation Allies Welcome under the Biden administration. That is
What
according
a surprise.
That is according to Fox News.
Well, what a surprise.
Yeah, no
The
kidding.
hottest we brought in without vetting.
Yeah, isn't that incredible?
No, not really. No,
you're
No,
right.
Not surprising. That's the real tragedy is this was all preventable. All we took is a government that was responsible, which wasn't.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. What are you and Mary doing tomorrow?
Nothing. She just got back from the hospital today. This is new for her. She has diverticulitis. So let's say what happened in the emergency room. She just came back today. Had to do a second scan. I was all day in the hospital, and we're not actually. We're having nothing. You know, there's no point.
Is she all right? Is she okay?
Well, no, they still have an issue. So they had to do another scan to see if they put you on antibiotics. They give you this stuff to code it and all that. No, the ultimate case. I have a friend I knew from years back who died from it because if the intestines become perforated, you can get septicemia, into your system. And I know other people who had to have sections of their bowels removed.
Is she at home?
Can be. She's at home. Yeah.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, this is the second time though in 3 weeks. So,
wow.
You can diagnose with that, never have an issue. It's just an inflammation. But if they don't get it under control, it can be really dramatic.
We'll tell her our thoughts and
Agonizing
prayers.
pain.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with her. We're thinking about her on this
It's an
holiday.
excuse to lay on the couch all day and watch endless reruns of like Northwoods Law and every reality show you've ever seen in
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Very well. Tell her we said hey, and we're praying for her.
Well, listen, you have a good Thanksgiving, and I'll
You
talk
as
to you
well.
next week, and have a fun football weekend. Lots to watch.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take care, man.
All right.
All right. We'll see you. God, I hate to hear that. Get well, Mary. We're praying for you. Quick time out. Not a lot of time before we get to the bottom of the hour to the highlight of the show. Ralph's Thanksgiving Day tips for whatever it's worth. Me, I'm having a New York steak. A little baked potato, a little asparagus. Just saying. Hey, and speaking of steaks, Casey Steakhouse is open tomorrow. Want to thank Cassie Biddle for filling in for JR over the last couple of days. But they'll be open from, please stand by. I believe it's noon to 6, but let me make sure so you don't show up and yell at me because I gave you the wrong information. They'll be open from 12 to 6. Live music, Bobby and Jimmy from 2 to 6 p.m. They're closed, however, on Friday. That is Cassie Biddle's favorite day where she will turn her F Street restaurant into a winter wonderland with the train. That's my favorite part. The train in the corner of the restaurant and the dancing Santa on the dance floor. It is a sight to see. It really is. Try to get into Casey's Steakhouse during the holidays. Quick time out. We're coming right back. Not a lot of time before we get to the bottom of the hour on a Thanksgiving Day Eve on the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 AM 1180 KRN, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here from the award-eligible First Look with Scott Cox radio program. We got a couple of days off for the long Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you do too. Have a great time and join us back here on the 1st of December for a brand new program. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the World Wide Web at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The annual enrollment period for Medicare is here. That means that it is time for you to select your Medicare plan for 2026. This annual enrollment period, choose a name you already trust. Select Kern Family Healthcare Medicare, DSNP. A new option for people who have both Medicare and Medi-Cal. For over 29 years, Kern Family Healthcare has been a trusted name in Medi-Cal.
Because what's his name?
Now, we're here to support your Medicare journey too. Call 1-866-661-3767. Again, that's 1-866-661-3767. Or visit www.kernfamilyhealthcare.com/Medicare to learn more and enroll. Start your Medicare journey with local care you trust. Choose Kern Family Healthcare.
Who else is in the
Kern
West?
Family Healthcare Medicare is an HMO D-SNP plan with a Medicare
good.
contract and a contract with the California Medicaid program. Enrollment in Kern Family Healthcare Medicare HMO D-SNP depends on contract renewal.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Guy Picard.
Hi, my name is Guy Picard, and I am very happy that I found Paul Sheldon. What a relief it is trying to turn 65 and find somebody like him to help me navigate this industry. I think that it's really important that you look at all of the options that you have and then give Paul Sheldon a call, because he will create a plan that fits your budget and fits what you're trying to achieve as far as trying to get the best possible medical care that you can have. So I'd like to recommend Paul Sheldon to any of you out there that are trying to navigate the medical industry at turning 65. Give Paul Sheldon and his staff a call. They are awesome. And I'd just like to say, Paul and your whole entire staff, you guys rock.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Let them lead you up in the air. Let them brush you rock and roll.
Let the good times roll. Won't you let the good times roll? Oh. So I did it. I did it. I made it official. Took the sticks.
Oh.
Put them in the second bedroom.
Not the official I thought you were talking about.
What were you thinking?
I thought we were talking about you being up in the plane ride and, flying at 10,000 feet.
We're in the air, but we're,
ambulance?
No, just kind of, we stopped in Wichita to refuel.
Okay.
Family, and I don't know how to navigate that during holidays. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of
it's tough to do that.
Backing off and
smart,
letting you know. Quick time out. Ralph's Thanksgiving Day tips are next.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. 2 West Virginia National Guard members who deployed to the nation's capital were shot just blocks from the White House in a brazen act of violence that the mayor described as a targeted attack. FBI Director Kash Patel and Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser said the Guard members were hospitalized Wednesday in critical condition. A suspect who was in custody also was shot and had wounds that were not believed to be life-threatening. Federal judges have allowed North Carolina to use a redrawn congressional map designed to give Republicans an additional U.S. House seat. The map targets the state's only swing seat held by Democratic Representative Don Davis. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 314 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. No contact with the accuser is the order from the court against 26-year-old Salvador Fabian, the now former band coach from Del Oro High School, accused of sex with a student. Fabian faced a judge for the first time Tuesday and pleaded not guilty. 5 people were arrested and 6 homeless camps cleared from Union Avenue this week, says Bakersfield PD. They did that after complaints from business owners in that area. They also brought along animal control, and they took 3 dogs from the camps. The city-owned and operated fiber internet network in Shafter is getting an expansion starting in January, says the city. They are paying a company to work that out for them using state grant money. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
So you feel like you need to know what's going on in the world, but you don't want to be bored to tears?
Well, tune in the Armstrong and Getty Show. We'll keep you informed. We'll try to make you think. We will leave behind the ever-present left-wing media spin. And you know what? We're not angry all the time. Sometimes we have fun.
I'm angry a lot, but not all the time. That's the Armstrong and Getty Show every single weekday.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Tina T. Oh, la, la. Oh, la, la, la. Oh. Yeah, just a couple of last-minute Thanksgiving Day tips. Not from yours truly. I stole this from the Today Show this morning and from the Butterball people. They put on a display this morning. And some of the tips, make sure your bird is thawed. And the best way to thaw it is to turn it upside down, put it in enough water to engulf the turkey, and let it thaw for 30 minutes per pound. You don't want to cook a frozen bird. And as AJ Clark told us from the Bakersfield Fire Department, you absolutely do not want to put a frozen bird in a deep fryer. That is an instant fire. And if you haven't seen the video of these fried turkey fires, it's a blaze. I mean, it goes woof up in smoke, no joke. And I would strongly urge that you have a fire extinguisher outside with you. And when I say outside, that means, it amazes me that I have to say this, but you can't do this inside. That is about as idiotic a thing as that you can do. And yet we'll come back on Monday and there'll be reports of people's homes burned down because they were doing it in their kitchen or whatever. It's got to be outside. I wouldn't do it on the grass. I would try to do it on some sort of cement even if you have to go in the front yard and be country and do it on your driveway or in your garage. Garage?
Garage is a
No,
bad move,
yeah,
too.
well, yeah, I wouldn't do it in the garage either. Yeah, he's right. Because it can hit the roof and bada boom, bada bang, your whole house is on fire. But
Driveway, maybe.
yeah, driveway. If you don't have any cement in your backyard, I would definitely do it in the driveway. It's a little country bumpkin.
I think this is the day that everybody kind of gives you a pass on that.
Yeah, I agree. The way you should cook it is in an open pan with a rack. Now, this I did not know. I've never seen this. My mother never did this. She just put it in a huge pan. But the Butterball people said to have a rack, and that provides juices that you can use as almost a gravy, and it doesn't smother the bird, according to the Butterball people. This isn't Ralph Bailey talking. In terms of stuffing, you can cook the stuffing in the bird, but they strongly urge you to have a meat thermometer and pay close attention to not only obviously the temperature of the bird, which should be 170 degrees, but the stuffing as well. Because if you undercook that stuffing, you're going to have a table full of sick folks. The temperature of the stuffing should be 165 degrees. Now, in terms of cutting the bird, they suggest that you begin with the breast and the thighs on the side of the bird. And this I did not know because I have never cut a turkey. My dad would never let me have a knife. You gone crazy? But you cut the sides of the bird, the breast and the thighs, and that way the quarters will just simply fall off, and you can go Fred Flintstone or Henry VIII with one of the drumsticks, which I love to do, and my mother would get livid. And then check this out. Now, this is what I did not know. So you got the bird in front of you. You cut it horizontally initially from the side of the bird. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And if you want to take a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds and jump to YouTube so I can show you what I'm saying visually, feel free. Let's go. I'll wait for you. Go ahead. Just go to YouTube, look up Ralph Bailey, and I'm wearing my Izod pullover and black shirt, my honor flight black shirt, but and a ball cap, so you can tell the difference. But so all right, so you got the bird in front of you, and you cut the sides, the leg and the breast, and then you cut horizontally. That way, after you make that incision on the side, when you cut vertically, the pieces will just fall off in layers. I did not know that. That is absolutely brilliant. Just cut that on both sides, and then when you go to the top of the bird and cut, it's already cut at the base, so the sides will just fall right off. Ralph Bailey, ladies and gentlemen, gourmet Thanksgiving Day cook, thanks to the Today Show. Temperature-wise, cooking the bird, according to the Butterball people, 325 degrees. And that's all I know. Let's give the Butterball people a call and see what they have to say. See if we can get through. You think we'll get through? I think we'll get through. You think people are calling the day before? This will be interesting.
Welcome to Butterball. To be connected to our Butterball Turkey Talk line, for information on turkey preparation and cooking assistance, press or say 3. If you have a product, your call may be monitored or recorded to ensure quality customer service.
Temperature?
Thank you for calling the Butterball Turkey Talk line. All turkey experts are assisting other callers. For self-service options to frequently asked questions, press 1.
No.
Or visit butterball.com for information on turkey preparation, recipes, and more. If you would like to leave a callback number and keep your place in line, press 2 or remain on the line for the next available expert.
Oh, but they won't tell us how long it is. Normally they say they'll tell you how long it'll take.
Everybody uses this song too.
All right, well, put it down low and see if we can, before the break. We'll give them a couple of minutes. Because I have another. Well, I'll wait for the break to give you my Thanksgiving Day cocktail recipes. Yes, I have cocktail recipes to share with you as well. I'm trying to see if we can get, normally they will tell you it is a 5.
Nervous about hosting Thanksgiving? Don't worry, you got this. Keep holding. We'll be with you shortly.
Wow. It was a sister too. You got this. What? I don't think I got this. Let me read you some more breaking news from Fox. They're saying, per multiple federal law enforcement sources, God dang it, they just changed it. Well, as we reported a little bit earlier, they're saying that the shooter is suspected to be an Afghan migrant who came in during the Biden administration, which makes this even worse, which kind of almost verifies what John Miller from CNN was reporting, that on November 7th and November 20th, ISIS made a global call for people under their umbrella to make what was described as lone wolf attacks. It'll be Thursday morning before we get through.
That's what I'm thinking too.
All right, we gave it a shot. What are you going to do? That's pretty funny. Normally will tell you it is a 5 to 10 minute wait. And then a lot of times, like PG&E will tell you,
How many people are in front of you?
no, they'll tell you, leave a phone number, we'll call you back. But I guess Butterball's way too busy. I would love to interview them, though, and just find out, like, how many people call. You know what we should have done? Maybe we'll do later in the program. See what are the most frequently, the FAQs, as you see online, the frequently asked questions. I'm assuming temperature is the big deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's got to be the big deal, because you don't want to undercook a turkey and get everybody sick, and you don't want to overcook a turkey. I remember I went to my very first double Thanksgiving. Have you ever done the double Thanksgiving?
You go to one
Where you're
place and
dating-
leave and then go to another one?
Well, yeah, when you're dating somebody, and you
I
got to
did it
go to her
twice.
parents' house, and you got to go to your parents' house. I've done it twice myself. I did it with Kim out in South Pasadena, and her mother did not know how to cook. And it was the dry, she completely overcooked the turkey, and it was dry as a bone. And I think, God, I can't even remember. I'm so freaking old. I think we went to my mother's first, and the turkey was great. And then we went to Kim's house, and it was horrible. And, you know, Kim and I have dated for like 3 years. Kim could tell. She was like, I was like, oh, it's delicious, Mrs. Williams. And she's like, Mom, Ralph hates it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And like, I can tell. She's like, Ralph, you don't think I can tell? And I'm like, Kim, do we have to discuss this at your family's dinner table? I could tell when Ralph likes something. I could tell when he's hungry. I could tell he doesn't like it, Mama. No, it was, we went to their house first. And she's like, he was starving. He's barely touching his dinner, Mom. And I know how he eats. I'm like, Mrs. Williams, your daughter's nuts. I'm enjoying myself. It's wonderful. It was awful. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Who you got?
Chad's on the line.
Chad, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you too. Hey, I lived in Louisiana for a while, and deep frying a turkey is good and great.
It is.
But I found something a wee bit better.
Yeah, what do you got?
Spatchcocking the turkey and smoking it.
Say what?
It's called spatchcocking it. You cut the spine out of the back of the turkey.
Yeah.
And you lay it out flat. And like I started brining my turkey last night to get all the seasonings and everything in the meat.
Yeah.
And then I'll pull it out. I'll cut the spine out of it tomorrow and flatten it out and smoke it for about 5 or 6 hours. And it comes out juicy and pretty doggone good, buddy.
Ooh, that sounds really good. Have you heard about putting butter underneath the skin?
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. No, you butter underneath the skin. When I used to deep fry them, I do, you put the pats of butter underneath the skin, and then you'd also inject the dark meats with jalapeno and butter. melted butter. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds unbelievable.
Yeah.
A little jalapeno in a turkey. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, jalapeno juice and you can go to that Tony Ciccarelli's. They have all that stuff, man. Yeah, dude, it rocks. I mean, you can't beat it.
Wow. All right, very good. All right, Chad. Have a great Thanksgiving, man. Appreciate it.
You too, brother, man. See ya.
All right, take care. Hey, let's go. Quick timeout. We come back. It's now time for Ralph's Thanksgiving Day cocktail recipes. I know that Liz was here, was she not?
She was.
KC bartender, an overall good egg. Extremely fond of Mr. Flores. But I've got my own batch of cocktails. Not self-made. I found it on the internet. You think I'm crazy? You think I'm just making up stuff? No, I got a bunch of cocktail recipes that I found on the internet that I'm going to share with you. Then coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we got to get a little serious. Tell you the story of Travis Lee Turner, 46-year-old Union High School coach in Big Stove Gap, Virginia. He was the toast of the town. He put that high school on the map for the first time. They were undefeated. They were 2 days away from a playoff game, and he had to take it on the lam. A warrant out for his arrest, 5 counts of possession of child pornography, 5 counts of soliciting a minor. He is somewhere in the Appalachian Mountains. No one knows where he is. They've contacted his family. They have no idea. And yet, the Union High School team is vying for a championship this weekend. And most likely without their head coach, don't you think? Quick break. We're coming right back. It's TRBS on Thanksgiving Day Eve, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com.
News Talk 96.1.
KC right here.
RN. The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
I'm tired of waking up and hearing another case of a DUI. We just had the Madison Williams case where she was found guilty. We have another trial going on where a 6-year-old was killed. Now again, I'm hearing an 8-year-old is dead because of an alleged DUI. Something needs to be done to fix this.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you're listening to the JR Show this afternoon and yesterday, where Cassie Biddle, owner-operator of KC Steakhouse in the Stockyard next door, was filling in for JR. And don't be surprised over the Christmas holidays when I'm gone, that Cassie will be right back in this chair. She's just one of those people. She is just multifaceted. She's on the planning commission. She's with the Flood Ministries. She just happens to run and operate one of the best steakhouses in the country. And she's committed to this community. And they are open tomorrow from noon until 6. Jimmy and Bobby will be providing live music from 2 to 6. But they are closed on Friday because that's when Cassie gets busy. That's when she turns that restaurant into a winter wonderland for the Christmas holidays. So make sure during the holidays you stop by KC Steakhouse and the Stockyard next door, which is open Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights. Vanessa and Loudy are in playing acoustic guitar, providing the live music. Where would you rather be? I know AGM wants to be there. Our Christmas party is at the Stockyard. It's KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
The annual enrollment period for Medicare is here. That means that it is time for you to select your Medicare plan for 2026. This annual enrollment period, choose a name you already trust. Select Kern Family Healthcare Medicare, DSNP, a new option for people who have both Medicare and Medi-Cal. For over 29 years, Kern Family Healthcare has been a trusted name in Medi-Cal. Now, we're here to support your Medicare journey too. Call 1-866-661-3767. Again, that's 1-866-661-3767. Or visit www.kernfamilyhealthcare.com/Medicare to learn more and enroll. Start your Medicare journey with local care you trust. Choose Kern Family Healthcare. Kern Family Healthcare Medicare is an HMO D-SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the California Medicaid program. Enrollment in Kern Family Healthcare Medicare HMO D-SNP depends on contract renewal.
For over 50 years, Hard Rock has been where the music lives. Artists play our stages. Their stories line our walls, and guests walk away feeling like stars. We're a global icon built on one timeless ideal: love all, serve all. Introducing Hard Rock Casino to Home. Over 2,000 of the hottest slots, over 60 thrilling table games, and the energy only we can deliver. The sound check is over. Now open. Concerned about your gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 426-2537.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
I see you guys. You get the stars. So nice. So nice. I got cheek. All right, here we go. I'll give you some time to get a pen and a pad if you'd like, or you can just go back on YouTube tonight and go to about 4:50 and listen to me break down some cocktail recipes. The perfect Manhattan for those that like Manhattans. I used to be a bourbon guy, but even when I was a bourbon guy, I wasn't a big fan of Manhattans. I know they're incredibly popular these days, but that's just not me. Well, I'm having problems opening this. I never had problems opening this earlier, but now I'm having problems opening it. Isn't that just typical? Isn't that just typical? Hang on. Let's see this. All right, here we go. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Come on. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. All right, we're cooking with gas now. Here we go. I had no problem doing this morning, and now here we go. All right, here we go. Ingredients. God dang it. What? It's telling me upgrade to unlimited access to all of the Times articles. They're telling me I don't have access to this now all of a sudden? Are you kidding me? I don't have access to this page. It's saying upgrade now. Your subscription does not include cooking. Why did it let me open it today? This morning? You know what? Screw you, New York Times. You're on your own. Sorry, guys. I'm not upgrading so for one segment. They didn't say that. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, it disappeared. Upgrade to enjoy all of the Times. Over 20,000 recipes. Upgrade now. Screw you. God, they try to just wring you like a washcloth for every penny they can get. You going crazy? I would suggest martinis is a good way to get the party going. I would have tequila at the house. And I think the worst thing you could do as a bartender, a house bartender, is have cheap tequila. Like, I don't mind Cuervo, but I think of the holidays, you got to go Don Julio. You got to do something special. Are you a tequila drinker at all?
I do a little bit, yeah.
Like, what would you drink?
Don Julio.
Yeah, Don Julio, or maybe Casadores. I'd go
I stay away
quality.
from Patron. I'm not a
I don't mind Patron.
I mean,
I don't mind Patron. I'll shoot some Patron, although I haven't done that in a long time and won't for a long time. What are some basics? You got to have some vodka in the house. I'd have some cranberry and orange juice, club soda and tonic for those trying to, watch their weight. I think you got to have some bourbon. I would go with Old Number 7, Jack Daniels, or Knob Creek if you want to go a little higher up. A lot of people like Woodford. I don't know a lot of people that drink Scotch, but just in case, might be nice to have a fifth of Scotch at the house. Dewar's, I would assume. Vodka. Vodka, personally, I'm a kettle guy, but I think Tito's is just as good. You can't miss any Absolute, Stoli. Just don't do Pop Off. Don't do Smirnoff.
Yeah, Smirnoff is dead.
Smirnoff is, used to be no.
You bust out the flavored Smirnoff, I'm leaving.
Yeah, you can get a handle of Stoli for like $19. Or I know for a fact, because I just bought one, you can get a 1.75 of the blue bottle. What did I just buy? The blue bottle. God damn.
Blue bottle of vodka?
Yes.
Not gray.
It's a blue bottle. It's oh my God. It's sitting on my counter unopened right now. Sky for $22. $22. You can't buy a fifth of liquor for $22, but you can get a 1.75 of Sky for $22. It's a great purchase. Have we covered all our bases? Vodka, tequila, bourbon, gin. Not very popular, but it's always good to have that just in case. I know Chris Zucchini is a big gin guy. He loves Hendrix. If you want to go top shelf. Me, when I used to drink gin, and I did, because, back in the day, I'd drink just about anything put in front of me. I'm a Tanqueray guy, but Hendrix is pretty popular. I'd have some Rose's lime juice at the house, just in case for mixed drinks, particularly for gin. What are those called? Gimlets? Gimlets. Gibsons.
I believe it's a gimlet, yeah.
Gibsons are martinis with pearl onions, but I think it's a Gibson with just gin and Rose's lime juice. You used to drink that in college. They're really, really tasty. And for eggnog, if you're rolling that out early, what do you put in your eggnog? Rum?
Rum.
Yeah, I think that's traditional. Yeah. Go with the Kennedy's rum. Bacardi is just pretty basic and fairly cheap, but that's about it. And I guess I'm not hip on all the craft drinks. You'd have to talk to Cassie Biddle about that. Maybe Liz, maybe Haley over at the Stockyard. And I don't know anything about all the craft nonsense and the claws and no, that ain't me. That ain't me. But it's always good to have a bottle of Rumbauer, Zinfandel, Chardonnay for the ladies that drink a little wine. That's always good to have around the house. I would go with a Zinfandel. I'd go with a Chardonnay and maybe a, I don't know, maybe rosé. I don't know. Final hour of the week. Don't go anywhere.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. 2 National Guard members from West Virginia are in critical condition after being shot near the White House.
Investigators say it appears to be an ambush. The unidentified suspect rounded a corner near the Farragut Metro train station, raised his arm with a weapon, and opened fire at about 2:15 in the afternoon. Police say it appears to be a lone gunman. The suspect was subdued by other guardsmen after being shot. With several local and federal law enforcement agencies in the area, the White House was put on lockdown. President Trump was in Florida during the shooting for the Thanksgiving holiday. Bill Alexander, Washington.
The suspect has been identified as an Afghan national. A federal 3-judge panel on Wednesday allowed North Carolina to use a redrawn congressional map aimed at flipping a seat to Republicans as part of President Trump's multi-state redistricting campaign. President Trump is dispatching his special envoy to meet with Russian President Putin next week.
Steve Witkoff will travel to Moscow to discuss an updated peace plan to end the war in Ukraine. U.S. officials say the proposal has been fine-tuned after addressing concerns from Ukrainian officials. President Trump told reporters that Russia is making concessions after European allies said the plan favored Moscow. The president also said there's no deadline for an agreement after first demanding that Ukraine had until Thanksgiving to decide. Greg Clugston, Washington.
A judge has dismissed the Georgia election interference case against President Trump and others after the prosecutor who took over the case said he would not pursue the charges. Pete Skandalakis, the prosecutor who took over the case earlier this month, made the announcement in a court filing. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 314 points, the Nasdaq rose 189. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A man accused of an inappropriate relationship has a sour week. I'm Chris Davis. It was the first time 26-year-old Salvador Fabian faced a judge Tuesday, and he says he's not guilty of having that inappropriate relationship with a student at Del Oro High School, where he was a walk-on band coach. Since his arrest, Fabian has been sacked, and Tuesday the court issued a restraining order preventing him from having any contact with the person who says they were the victim. Bail was set at $245,000, and Fabian has another court date, December 8th. Complaints from business owners on Union Avenue brought Bakersfield PD Impact team members, code enforcement officers, and animal control to clear 6 homeless camps this week. They arrested 5 people who are all accused of crimes related to squatting and trespassing, and the animal control officers took 3 dogs. For now, the identity of the person who was killed last night, apparently hit by a vehicle while walking on South H Street, will not be released. The coroner says you will hear that later, but police are still trying to figure out exactly what happened just after 10:30 last night near the intersection with Wilson Road. No other injuries were reported. Holiday pink slips have gone out to 70 people in Shafter. They got notice that they will no longer have jobs as of January 24th, with the glass mat plant shutting down. That's a factory operated by GAF, and the company says they are optimizing. While that optimization puts people out of work, the county will be helping people file for unemployment, and they will get access to food and medical assistance. And GAF says they are not shutting down their other factory, which makes shingles. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the week as we wrap up Thanksgiving Day week. We're back on Monday, at which time we are really happy to announce that the leading candidate in the most recent UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies poll indicates that our Monday guest, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, is the leading candidate for the governor's race. He has 13%, while Katie Porter, who is plummeting like a rock in Mariana's Trench, is at 11%. And Steve Hilton, who is just in town with Megyn Kelly and Charlie Sheen, is in third place in the poll. However, Eric Swalwell, controversial congressman, has recently gotten into the race, and 44% of the electorate in the poll are undecided. We've still got lots to do in the final hour. I'll tell you the horrific story of Virginia high school coach Travis Lee Turner, who has a warrant out for his arrest after disappearing. He is charged with 5 counts of possession of child pornography and using a computer to solicit a minor, despite the fact that his football team is about to vie for a state championship this weekend. And our top story of the day, and we've got new information if you're just joining us, the latest is the suspect accused of critically, I'm reading from the New York Times, the suspect accused of critically wounding 2 National Guard members in a shooting near the White House on Wednesday afternoon is a man from Afghanistan, according to 3 people familiar with the investigation. Local officials said the suspect was in custody and appeared to have acted alone, targeting members of the West Virginia National Guard in a busy tourist area just blocks from the White House on the day before Thanksgiving. Jeffrey Carroll, whose audio we played earlier, and I'll replay that for you in just a second, the executive assistant chief of the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, said the gunman came around a corner, raised his gun, and fired at the Guard members. He said the suspect had also been shot, but it was unclear who had wounded him. Here, in fact, is the executive assistant chief of the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, Jeffrey Carroll.
At approximately 2:15 this afternoon, members of the DC National Guard were on high visibility patrols in the area of 17th and I Street Northwest when a suspect came around the corner, raised his arm with a firearm, and discharged it at the National Guard members. The National Guard members, there were other members that were in the area. They were able to, after some back and forth, able to subdue the individual and bring them into custody. Within moments, members of law enforcement in the area were also able to assist and bring that individual into custody. At this time, as the director mentioned, the National Guard members are being treated at a local hospital. DC Fire and EMS responded to the scene to provide first aid for those individuals and transport them to a local hospital. The suspect in this case was also transported for treatment at a local hospital.
Meantime, the governor of West Virginia may have written his political epitaph by irresponsibly coming out and writing on TikTok that both the guardsmen had died, and then 45 minutes later having to retract that. As we always talk about, whenever there's any kind of shooting incident, any national news incident, the worst information is the initial information. In fact, I think it's fair to say that the initial information almost 10 out of 10 times is completely inaccurate. And for a governor of a state to want to be eager to get out and announce that these 2 people are dead when they are not is as irresponsible as it gets. The only people that should be making any type of medical news are hospital officials where the 2 patients are being taken care of. It's my understanding that they are at separate hospitals in the Washington, D.C. area. Meantime, back to the New York Times, the suspect is 29, according to one of the 3 people familiar with the investigation, who all asked to speak anonymously because they weren't authorized to share details publicly. President Trump, who was in Florida, said on social media that the gunman would, quote, pay a very steep price, end quote. He also ordered a deployment of 500 additional troops to Washington in response. That, according to Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, more than 2,000 National Guard members from West Virginia, the District of Columbia, and several other states are currently on duty in the nation's capital, part of a deployment that the president first ordered in August as a highly visible way to crack down on crime. Shooting happened near the entrance to the Farragut West Metro Station, just blocks from the White House, which has a history of violent attacks in its vicinity. And Patrick Morrisey is the West Virginia governor who said in a post on social media shortly after the shooting that the two guard members had been killed, but later backtracked. Meantime, Stacy Walters, a nurse who lives in Washington, was heading to the dry cleaners when she heard gunshots. She said, quote, "I wanted to cry. I've never been so close to something like that, let alone at the holidays." And of course, this is going to now start, I think, a national discussion on the deployment of the National Guard. And I think it's safe to say we all know Donald Trump, and we know a little bit about his idiotic defense secretary. This is only going to make them double and triple down. Already, he's deployed 500 more National Guardsmen to the DC area. But I think Howard stumbled staggeringly haphazardly into the truth. That is that the rhetoric that is primarily coming, and it's difficult not to examine this through political lenses when one side factually has been ramping up the rhetoric against ICE agents, against National Guardsmen, and now we see how dangerous the 6 legislators who came out and told members of the military that they can refuse illegal orders. That is stupidly redundant. And it's incredibly condescending. I've never been in the military, but I have family members that are in the military. I have friends that are in the military. And every member of the military, no matter how young they are, no matter how new they are very well aware of the Constitution, of their responsibilities, and what they can and cannot do. What Mark Kelly and the other 5 legislators did was a political stunt, period. How do we know that? Shortly after this was released, Mark Kelly started raising money off of this statement. It was a stunt, and it does not help. It implies that the president is giving out illegal orders, and not one of them, because I've seen them grilled as much as they can be on CNN or MSNBC or whatever they call themselves now, where they are asked, has the president given illegal orders? And one of the answers was, well, we don't want to wait until he does. We have to somehow inform them before the fact. And again, that is an insult to our military. It is an insult to the training that goes on in our military. Because imagine what they're saying. They're saying that some corporal in Parris Island is like, oh, who knew? Hey, guys, we don't have to do anything that's illegal. Thanks to these 6 legislators who let us know. Forget about our training. Forget about the hours and hours our drill sergeant has drilled everything into us. We've had an epiphany because 6 legislators did a video telling us what our responsibilities are. Now, I don't know if it's seditious. And again, it's one of those things where Donald Trump does or says something and we all kind of cringe, talking about hanging people and this kind of nonsense. But this doesn't help. And I truly believe, and again, it's hard to be political at a time like this, but this rhetoric is coming from the left. Whether it's Maxine Waters telling constituents to get into the... Remember, she told people to go into restaurants and confront your legislators. They're sitting there having dinner. She's telling them to come and harangue them as they're having a meal. And now, as maybe this is an unfortunate phrase, but as Malcolm X said, the chickens have come home to roost. And all of their rhetoric is now playing itself out in just one of the most heinous, horrendous incidents you could see, particularly during the holidays. But this Afghan migrant just walked up to these guys in an absolute ambush and shot one of them in the head. We're not sure where the other guardsman was wounded, but we do know that they're both fighting for their lives in separate hospitals inside the District of Columbia. Let's go ahead and take a break and come back. I wish I had better news on Thanksgiving Day Eve. I really wanted to go light, just have some fun. I was tempted to come in here with a blank rundown and just talk about whatever y'all wanted to talk about. But unfortunately, events don't allow that. I do want to tell you the story about Travis Lee Turner, though, this high school football coach who's somewhere in the Appalachian Mountains, probably. And then at the bottom of the hour, we'll shut this thing down as we all head to our families, talk a little football. Shedeur Sanders gets his first real start. And when I say real start, I mean a full week of practice, playing at home, practicing with the number ones, taking on a pretty good defense in that San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be a big test for the young man. I saw Deion Sanders thanking Mark Davis, let him stay in his suite. Deion was saying, it's the first time I ever saw my son play without me being on the sidelines, coaching him. And we got some great games for tomorrow. I'll give you the schedule once again. And then we'll all get out of here and enjoy 4 days of tranquility and familial happiness. I pray for you all. Quick time out, coming right back. TRBS on a cold Thanksgiving Day Eve. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here from the award-eligible First Look with Scott Cox radio program. We got a couple of days off for the long Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you do too. Have a great time and join us back here on the 1st of December for a brand new program. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the World Wide Web at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
King Door Company continues to set the standard in the garage door industry, and I'm here to tell you a few of the reasons why. First off, King Door carries Clopay garage panels and LiftMaster openers, so you're guaranteed quality and reliability well beyond the reach of most garage door companies, and it just gets better from there. King Door has a fleet of fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and tools to handle any job quickly and efficiently, and those trucks are manned by the most knowledgeable technicians anywhere. They have all the technical expertise imaginable and the most up-to-the-minute training available. In fact, King Door is so committed to training that they have the King Door Academy, a full-size, state-of-the-art classroom right on the premises with all the latest teaching aids, including working garage doors to simulate any installation, repair, or technique. Your garage door is a very important part of the safety, security, and look of your home, so don't trust it to anyone but King Door Company. Call them today at 397-2744. Stop by the showroom at 7450 District Boulevard, or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, your company with the pride of a lion.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Vance Furtado.
Hi, my name is Vance Furtado, and I saw Paul Sheldon's advertising, and my wife and I were going to need to begin Medicare very soon, and we thought he would be a great guy to talk to. And we were not disappointed. He and his staff were excellent. They provided much needed guidance for us, and we would recommend Paul Sheldon and his agency to anyone desiring help when it comes to figuring out the confusing world of Medicare. Medicare can be so terribly confusing. That's why my wife and I were so glad that we went to Paul Sheldon. He and his staff were incredibly helpful to us. So I would recommend Paul and his agency to anyone. Thank you, Paul, for all the help that you provided, giving us an excellent sense and direction of how best to satisfy our needs when it comes to Medicare.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Need cash fast? Tap into the value of your home with a home equity line of credit from Valley Strong Credit Union. Whether it's for home improvements, debt consolidation, or that dream vacation, you can get your cash offer in minutes. That's right, just minutes to unlock the power of your home's equity with no hard credit pull to see how much cash you can get. No stress, no waiting, just smart local banking that puts you first. Grow your possibilities with Valley Strong Credit Union. Visit valleystrong.com to get started today.
Gun safes on sale. TNT Liberty Safes Black Friday sale is happening now all month long. TNT has a large selection of home, office, commercial, and gun safes with hundreds of safes in stock and ready for installation. Keep your handguns, long guns, coins, jewelry, and other precious belongings safe. TNT also has many scratch and dents and closeouts in stock while supplies last. Go to TNTLibertySafe.com and check out TNT's Black Friday full lineup of American-made gun safes. Or stop by TNT showroom at 6201 Knudsen Drive, 2 doors north of Hodels. TNT, saving lives one safe at a time.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1.
Six 842 KERN. Travis Lee Turner, a 46-year-old high school coach, is on the run somewhere in the Commonwealth of Virginia in the Appalachian area. He was a winning coach. He had one of the best teams in the state of Virginia, Union High School in Big Stove Gap, Virginia. That was until his life absolutely turned upside down for him, his family, and everyone that loves him. He is wanted on 5 counts of possession of child pornography, 5 counts of using a computer to solicit a minor. And this is why I am absolutely 100,000% belief that it's simply who you are. And it's why pedophiles should we should change the sentencing for pedophiles as a life sentence. It's who they are. As we've talked about just about every time we get into one of these incidents, it's about the only crime that I can think of where it's not a typical criminal. They're not career criminals. They're not people that are in and out of jail. They're more often either relatives or, it seems of late, educators or people that are around children. And I posed the question to Howard, and feel free to chime in here on the chat room or in the text messages, that I'm beginning to believe that these people are, how can I put this, motivated to get into the educational business for the very reason that Willie Sutton used to say he robs banks, because that's where the money is. And so I'm beginning to think that these people, these pedophiles, get into the educational system because that's where the minors are. Or because I find it hard to believe that you're a 35, 40-year-old man and you're around kids and you're just suddenly lured to children. I find that hard to believe because let's be blunt and honest about this. There are 16, 17-year-old children that are attractive. I've had two girlfriends who had 16-year-old daughters, and when they and their friends would come in during the summer and in swimsuits, you just had to just not even look. It's not bizarre, and I guess that's what Megyn Kelly was saying, to find a 16, 17-year-old physically attractive. It may sound unpopular, it may sound creepy, but the reality is there are 16 and 17-year-olds who look like they're 25 years old. Now, it's one thing to leer at a 16 or 17-year-old. It's another thing to want to ruin not only your life, but the life of that teenager. You have to know, as a thinking grown-ass man, even if you're 25 years old, that you are, committing a crime, and you're destroying this young girl's life. Even at 16, 17, that's why I was so upset at Megyn Kelly's discussion about some perceived difference between having sex with a 16-year-old and a 7-year-old. Now, obviously, it's more heinous with a 7-year-old, but it's still pedophilia with a minor at 16 or 17. And these people just can't help themselves. This guy was a winning football coach. He was beloved. You should go to the New York Times or just read any story about this guy. He was a beloved football coach. The parents are talking out and saying, my son loves this man. My son comes home and talks about this man. Saw him as a father figure. He's 46 years old. And all the while, he's going home after practice and going on a computer and looking at kiddie porn. And how stupid can you be at this point? In the year 2025, you really believe that you can look at kiddie porn and somebody's not going to find out about it? You really honestly believe you can have a relationship with a child and they're not going to tell somebody about it? But guess what? They don't give a damn. It is within them and they can't stop themselves. That's the only thing you can conclude. I don't have any knowledge. I'm not smart. I'm not a shrink. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or any kind of physician. It's just very apparent. How many times have we seen these people throw away their careers, not their job? This guy, Travis Lee Turner, will never be on a high school campus again in his life. And he was a beloved, successful football coach, which could have led to college, perhaps even the NFL. Now he's going to be a registered sex offender who's going to do years in prison. We all pray.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. 2 West Virginia National Guard members who deployed to the nation's capital have been shot just blocks from the White House in a brazen act of violence that the mayor described as a targeted attack. FBI Director Kash Patel and Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser said the Guard members were hospitalized Wednesday in critical condition. The suspect has been identified as an Afghan national. Federal judges have allowed North Carolina to use a redrawn congressional map designed to give Republicans an additional U.S. House seat. The map targets the state's only swing seat held by Democratic Representative Don Davis.
I think it's going to be
on Wall Street. The Dow up by 314 points. The Nasdaq rose 189. More details at sonnews.com.
And I don't want to hear people ask me.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. It's a tradition, it seems, during the holidays for companies giving people the pink slip. Layoffs have been announced in Shafter. 70 people who work for GAF at the glass mat plant are being phased out of their jobs January 24th. A person was hit by a car and killed just after 10:30 last night on South H Street, says Bakersfield PD. They have not discussed details about how it happened and say the person's name will be released later. You are being encouraged and reminded to shop local as much as you can. That message comes from the Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce and other organizations with an interest in seeing local businesses thrive and Bakersfield business families do well. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Pet stains on your carpet? Carpet Outlet Plus has everything you need to make your floors pet-proof. With over 100 in-stock waterproof floors, Carpet Outlet Plus can solve your pet problems for good. We also stock over 50 colors of pet-perfect carpet. Call, click, or come by today for your free in-home estimate. Don't forget, for the do-it-yourselfer, we also offer free next-day delivery on all qualifying stock floors. And as a bonus, go to carpetoutletplus.com and apply for 12 months no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
It's time once again for the annual Condors Teddy Bear Toss. This is one of the coolest events that happens all year long in Bakersfield. You just bring a stuffed animal to the game. It happens the Saturday after Thanksgiving. When the Condors score their first goal of the night, you throw all the bears, all the stuffed animals onto the ice. They're then gathered up and distributed by the United Way. It's sponsored by KERN, Eyewitness News, and Three-Way Chevrolet. The doors open at 6, puck drops at 7. Get your tickets early and do not be late. You do not want to miss the big goal. For more information, visit BakersfieldCondors.com or call 324-PUCK.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Yeah. Eight 537 842 KERN. What do you got on the board?
Everyone knows not to leave your drink unattended. And this is true.
I
That's the other thing that I didn't get about her story is like you just walked away from your wine glass, like in a busy hotel bar.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm trying to think because I drink at places I know. So I'm thinking like when I go to Vegas. Yeah, I don't think I'd leave a drink unattended, like at a Vegas bar or. That's about the only place I drink unfamiliarly is in Vegas or when I go to LA.
Right.
And I'm staying at a hotel and I'm down in the hotel bar. You're right. I would not leave a half a drink and go to the bathroom. I would finish my drink before I go to the bathroom and then order another one when I get back. But you're right. I don't think I would, and not really thinking that I'm going to get drugged. But I just if a fly lands on my glass or whatever, you just don't want to leave an unattended cocktail. We're talking about Tara Reid, who alleges that she was drugged at a hotel in Florida. And I played some audio from her being on TMZ, and her story just doesn't make sense. She said she checked into the hotel and
I'm assuming at 50, she's still, financially comfortable. So I'm assuming it is a pretty classy hotel. And she went down to the bar and had a cocktail, a glass of wine by herself, which again seems weird. That she's traveling by herself and she's having cocktails by herself.
That part doesn't seem as weird to me because it's just like you could be traveling on your own. Maybe you just got off a plane. You said, you know what, I need a drink. Let's go. I'm going to go down to the bar real quick, have a glass of wine. That I get.
A woman traveling by herself, really?
As an actress, I could see it.
Yeah,
yeah.
That just seems weird to
me.
Did
it say where it was too?
I thought it was somewhere in Florida.
Florida?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But so she went out to have a smoke and came back, and there was a napkin over her cocktail, which she didn't put on there. And she finished her glass of wine, and the next thing she knew, she woke up in a hospital 8 hours later. But the bizarre part of the story is she claims that they never told her what she was drugged with. She never called the police, because that's certainly what I would do. I would certainly ask the hotel if they have video of the bar. I would certainly ask the police to at least question the bartender and see if he saw any suspicious characters or anybody hanging around her drink. But again, I find it hard to believe in a major hotel like that they don't have video in the bar.
Well, not even just her, but it tighten me up if I'm wrong here, anybody who works in the medical field. But if you guys have somebody come in that is clearly drugged, one, would you not tell them exactly what they were drugged with? And
I think you almost have to.
And then two, wouldn't you call the cops yourselves and report this? That, hey, this woman was clearly drugged by somebody at a bar. Can we get somebody look into this? Or do you guys just kind of like say, this happens all the time, so we can't do anything about it?
Yeah, I think she's self-medicated. I don't think it was on purpose. Maybe she took something, maybe she just flew in and she took something to help her fly and didn't realize that it was, maybe it was a 2-hour flight. She thought, well, maybe it won't be,
sleeping pills.
Yeah,
and didn't realize they were still in her system.
Yeah. And then one glass of wine sets it off, and next thing you know,
she's passed
you're
out
like a mackerel,
Yeah.
But just the whole story is as hinky as all get out. What else you got?
She sounded high on the tape
Yeah.
herself. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. She sounded loopy. And if it weren't so long, I'd play it again, but it's not worth listening to. What else you got?
Come on, guys. She starred in the Sharknado movies, revived her career, or what was left of it. I'm pretty sure those movies didn't revive anybody's career.
I've never even heard of Sharknado.
Don't even go down this rabbit hole. There's about 8 of these movies now. They're all god-awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't look very attractive.
She was in the 90s.
Was she?
Because Howard had reminded me, but she was in the American Pie movies. She was the classmate that was the friends with the curly-haired guy who had a crush. They were dating on and off. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She was attractive.
She was a hottie. In American Pie, she was a hottie.
Yeah.
Well, she's not hot anymore. Fitty does not look good on her.
Oh, and she also had a long stint with drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. So.
And she's still drinking and still smoking.
Yep.
At 50. Well, that ain't good. What else you got?
The West Virginia high school coach is interviewing at LSU in case Elaine Kiffin turns down the job.
Weep, womp, womp. God, can you imagine just living that double life and how devastated the family must be? The wife, the kids, the community. That would be like, well, I don't want to use any names because then it seems like I'm implicating them, but it would be like one of our high-level coaches at one of our prominent high schools turning out to be a pedophile, and we find out about it. And he's a revered member of our community, husband, father, and all of a sudden we discover 2 days before their playoff game that he's disappeared and he's wanted on 5 counts of kiddie porn and going after minors. And I guess to a certain extent, Megyn Kelly is right that it's more heinous when you're into kiddie porn, when you're talking about under 10, 11, 12. That is, to me, just absolutely incomprehensible. Again, I don't mean to sound creepy, but there are some 16 and 17-year-olds who look older than they really are. But it doesn't lessen the responsibility or the accountability of breaking the law and perhaps destroying a child's life before it even gets started. I mean, 16, 17, we're talking about 10th, 11th graders. I just don't understand. Even if you have the urge to do that, I don't understand how you could do that to a child. I just don't understand how you could take away their innocence like that. Because that's something they will never forget for the rest of their lives. That will haunt them and maybe create PTSD. I've heard of women that, like, to be honest with you, I dated a woman who was molested as a child. It was her uncle. And her mother told her not to say anything and just said, stay away from him, but don't say anything. It will blow up our family, et cetera, et cetera. And to be blunt, I could see the ramifications on her life. I really could. I'm not going to specify what they were, but she was different than any girl I had ever dated. And I think that's because of her experience as a child. I wish I could get into the little quirks that I noticed that I didn't know about before she had told me. And then when she finally told me, I kind of had an aha moment about all those things that I saw that I thought were bizarre. And I said, once she told me, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. What the hell's going on in our parking lot?
I was just asking the same thing.
Somebody's doing donuts in our parking lot.
That's ridiculous.
That is crazy. You know why? Because it's empty. In a business of 150, a complex with 150 businesses, do you know who's in this complex? Snacks, Randy, Chris, and Ralph. That's it. In this entire complex. Not that I'm bitter, because we're out of here in about 15 minutes, but nevertheless. One more. Let's take a break.
Are we going to hear Lang? I think he meant more of like your assessment of the football.
Oh, yes. Coming up after the break. I'm going to give you my thoughts on tomorrow's ball games and Fridays. I'm not going to do the whole weekend because why in the world would you listen to me? But I do want to comment on tomorrow's games. We'll do that right after this. Let's go ahead and take that. Final break of the week. We're back on Monday. And again, don't forget, be sure to tune in on Monday. We're going to talk with the leading gubernatorial candidate in the most recent California poll, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. And again, thanks to Sheriff Donnie Youngblood and Angela Barton, who set this up for us. We're very excited to talk to Sheriff Bianco. And, of course, Kathy Abernathy will be here on Monday. And we'll have more information, unfortunately, on the shooting in Washington, D.C., where 2 guardsmen, National Guardsmen, were shot today. The most recent information, the suspect has been identified as a 20-year-old Afghan migrant who was brought in during the Biden administration. And I don't think I even have to comment after that. We are so lucky that Joe Biden is no longer the leader of the free world. Good googly moogly. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. The Charlie Kirk Show at the top of the hour. And again, everyone from American General Media wishing you all a very happy, peaceful, restful, tasteful, and safe Thanksgiving. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1180 KERN, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
So you feel like you need to know what's going on in the world, but you don't want to be bored to tears?
Well, tune in the Armstrong and Getty Show.
You want to knock this out real quick?
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Got any suggestions?
What happened?
Got any suggestions?
Tara?
Say what?
Tara Reid?
Yeah, well,
unless you want to do the Washington shooting.
No,
I
because
think
it'll
so.
change, and I could do the Afghan. No, yeah, Tara Reid is about as light as it gets. 3, 2. I'm sorry. The whole Tara Reid story is kind of funky. The girl from American Pie who claimed she went to a hotel bar, had a glass of wine, went and got a smoke, came back. It was drugged. She woke up 8 hours later. But what's hinky is she said that the hospital didn't tell her what the drug was. She didn't call the cops. She didn't ask for film from the hotel. It just doesn't sound right. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Monday TRBS. Well, we are honored to have the leading gubernatorial candidate, most recent poll, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco will join us, along, of course, with Kathy Abernathy, post-Thanksgiving, hoping that you had a great Thanksgiving Day holiday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. I'll see you Monday.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
Black Friday sale event all November now at Bakersfield Mazda. Brand new 2025 Mazda CX-50 S Select. Just $259 lease for 36 months and $5,000 and $5,800 due at lease signing on approved credit. CX-50 Mazda CX-50 S Select. $259 lease per month for 36 months. Excludes tax, title, license, dealer option. 10,000 miles yearly. $5,000 and $5,800 due at signing. Offer ends December 1st, 2025. Bakersfield Mazda, Weibo and Bosch Drive. Bakersfield Auto, Black Friday sale all November.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday mornings 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Superman is of me. I can do most anything. Watch me turn around. One wing up and one wing down. I never thought I would fall in love for good. Ah, Superman. Yeah. I wonder why they wouldn't throw this in any of the Superman movies. This would be the best theme song you can come up with. I love this song. That's why Chris always plays it at the end of the show when we're leaving. Love this song. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yes, I have my gay tendencies. I even like Barry Manilow. What are you going to do? 842-537-6842-KERN. We got some great football tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, right about when I'll be waking up. The Packers are traveling to Detroit. This is going to be a good game. I like Detroit. I don't like Jordan Love. Please stand by. Hey, Siri, what's the line on the Green Bay-Detroit game?
I believe it's 3.
You are correct. The Lions by 3. I would put the house on the Lions. I'm sorry. I don't trust Jordan Love. I think has become like a C+ quarterback. I think he has regressed in some respects. I don't know if it's because they really don't have an outstanding receiver. Who's the best receiver on the Packers?
Marcus Golden. Well, right now it's actually Romeo Doubs, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's the stat leader.
Yeah, and he's, not a premier receiver. They really don't have a great crew. Got a pretty good tight end. What would happen?
Tucker, he got hurt weeks ago.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he tore his ACL, I think, the week after that big game he had.
Well, there you go. That's part of the problem with the passing game.
And I also think it's just because they've been trying to play too safe with him, not let him really throw the ball like he used to. So
I liked how he on what do they call it? Cleat Day?
My cleat, my cause.
Yeah. And he put the Bakersfield Police Activities League as his charity on his shoes. I kind of like that. There's different opinion on his relationship with Bakersfield. I'm not going to name names, but I know some very well-connected people in sports. Do you know what I'm talking about? Who say that he's not as giving to this community as he could be. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know exactly who you're talking about, but I have heard rumor of this. But, I mean, how much did Joey Porter give?
No, Joey, I think Joey was very...
this is a genuine question. Like, I have no idea.
No, Joey put on camps and would bring out NFL players, which Jordan does as well.
Yeah.
Jordan has a huge camp in the summer.
But I'm assuming this is more of a, like, gimme thing. You know what I mean?
I just heard that he's not that accessible to local media.
That's for sure.
We've certainly never had him on the show. And
I've reached out a couple times.
Yeah, we have as well. But, whatever. But he's still beloved by Brian Nixon, his former coach at Liberty. I know that. But I like Detroit. Randizzle, what do you think of my pick? I got Detroit -3 tomorrow. You just walk away. Dizzle, get on the mic. We're handicapping tomorrow's games.
What's your pick?
I got Detroit -3 over Green Bay. Turns my gun.
I got Packers next.
You jerk.
Hold on.
All right, I got KC over Dallas. I got KC.
Okay, Dallas. Let me mark this down.
Son of a bitch.
And you got Baltimore. I'll take Cincinnati.
And I got Baltimore over Cincinnati. You damn right I do.
Let me get my DraftKings.
It's the smart play, that's for sure. But that's who I like. You see Green Bay beating Detroit in Detroit? Really?
I actually like Detroit on that one.
Thank you.
I do like the Cowboys, dude. I don't know.
Really?
I think it's because I don't want Kansas City to win.
I don't either, but
at least the Cowboys, even if they win, they can still lose down the road.
Yeah, you're right.
We were looking at their schedule. Remember that?
It's a tough schedule.
So I can live with that one.
Because is KC out of it if they lose tomorrow?
I mean, they're pretty far. I mean, it's going to be tough, dude. Because they still play the division
6-1 or 6-6 or something like that.
Yeah, they'd be 500.
Yeah, late in the season. And then Friday, Chicago, Philly. I'm going to stay away from that because I want to root for Chicago.
Chicago, definitely.
I definitely want to root for Chicago because Philly's going to win that division. And there's all kind of chirping about Jalen.
I like the Bears because it's something new. You know what I mean? And I like Ben Johnson.
And they're rolling at 8-3. They are rolling.
They got a good team.
They really do. They really, really do. What else you got? Let's read a couple of text messages and get the Sam Hill out of
year?
This first one says Puka Nakua coming from North High this summer, or coming to North High this summer. I'm sorry.
Is that right?
Yeah, but I don't think Jordan had anything to do with that one.
Not if it's at North, he'd be Liberty, wouldn't he?
I would assume so, but I also think that's the same guys who brought Christian last year.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's a sports organization here locally.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
Ralph, I've always believed that most people deserve a second chance when it comes to touching children. I agree with you. Life without the possibility of parole, or is the only sentence death penalty if a young child?
What did they say in the first part, though? They believe in a second chance?
No, they believe most people deserve a second chance. But when it comes to this, they just did put the but in there.
Yeah.
But they mean but when it comes
Well,
to
yeah, if it's any other crime, I'm willing, unless it's assault, I think you should have a serious penalty, but given a second opportunity, anything but other than a vicious crime. But yes, when it comes to children, it's one strike, baby, one strike, because it's who you are. You know, that's why I never thought that the president was involved in any pedophilia, because it rears its head eventually. I don't think there are secret pedophiles. They come out somehow because they can't help themselves. There was a guy in the radio business that we all knew who got caught meeting a minor. I think he's out of jail now. I'm not going to name him, but he used to work here, as a matter of fact. It's just who you are. And these people are willing to roll the dice with their lives and their careers, their relationships with their families, all to feed this Jones, all to feed this urge that appears to be insatiable. They simply can't help themselves. This man was married, was a high school coach in Virginia who's wanted on possession of kiddie porn and soliciting a minor. Everything going for him. On a winning football team, they're probably going to win a championship this weekend. How they ended up winning their playoff game 2 days after their head coach disappeared and learning the news why he disappeared. They went on and won 12-0 is remarkable of those kids to be able to concentrate, because as one of the parents is quoted in the New York Times, they looked up to this guy. They admired this guy. It was like a dad to them. And to get kicked in the stomach like that and still be able to concentrate, I'm really praying for these guys. And if you want to pay attention to it, it's called Union High School in Big Stove Gap, Virginia. I've never heard of the community, but I hope those kids win. I really do. And I hope they catch this guy. Obviously, they will in a matter of days. He's on the run. I mean, how far can you go when you just lam it like this? But I'll keep you updated on this story. In the meantime, I want to thank AJ Clark from the Bakersfield Fire Department. Don't forget, do not deep fry a frozen turkey. Put it in the pail that you're going to use and fill it with water. And wherever the water level covers the turkey, that's the amount of oil you should put in. Be certain to be wary of the amount of oil you're putting in. Don't do it inside. Do it out on cement. Make sure you got a fire extinguisher. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Back to you Monday!
AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. There's been conflicting information on the fate of 2 members of the National Guard that were shot in Washington, D.C. today.
FBI Director Kash Patel says that 2 West Virginia National Guard members shot just blocks from the White House were still alive and in critical condition. West Virginia's governor initially said the troops had died, but later walked back that statement, saying his office was receiving conflicting reports about their condition. Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser also says the Guard members are in critical condition at a hospital and that it was a targeted shooting. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The suspect has been identified as an Afghan national who came to the U.S. in 2021. Israel has returned the bodies of 15 Palestinians following Hamas's return of the remains of an Israeli hostage. It's all part of the first phase of the American brokered ceasefire. Correspondent Julia Frankel reports.
Israel handed over 15 more Palestinian bodies, and the Palestinian militants the day before handed over the body of hostage Dror Or, who was killed by the militants in their October 7th, 2023 attack that kickstarted the war in Gaza. With this latest swap, there are 2 more hostages whose remains are still in Gaza. Hamas reiterated on Wednesday that it was committed to returning them.
Meanwhile, Turkish, Qatari, and Egyptian mediators met in Cairo on Tuesday to discuss the next steps. A judge has dismissed the Georgia election interference case against President Trump and others after the prosecutor who took over the case said he would not pursue the charges. Pete Skandalakis, the prosecutor who took over the case earlier this month, made the announcement in a court filing. On Wall Street,